Give me big old buckets of butterbeer. Give me big old barrels of butterbeer. Give me the drink I love so dear. And another round for my friend right here of the sweet old butter beer.
Welcome to the Three Broomsticks. We invite you to pull up a chair, grab a butterbeer, and settle in for a hearty discussion about Harry Potter. I'm Aurelia Lieb.
I'm Sophia Jenkins.
I'm Sam Williams.
I'm Ev McLaughlin.
I'm Patrick Musilek.
And I'm Irvin Capeman. And today, for episode number 77, the magical 77, you know we like sevens around here, we have gathered to discuss the main seven characters, as Joe once put it. The main seven characters in Harry's generation and each one's defining moment in the series. We're going to point to one scene where you're like, oh, there it is. That's Harry in a nutshell. So it promises to be a wild ride. We have almost the whole team here. Hopefully Sierra makes an appearance later on. And before we kick things off, we don't really have so much recommended reading as recommended listening. If you want to get into the whole 70 mood of it all, listen to episode 7, way back when, where our ridiculous penchant for sevens was sort of best illustrated and, crystallized into our 7 ingredients feature and so on. And, after you've listened to that for 3 hours, then you can come back and listen to this.
Absolutely.
And for today's episode, we welcome in our sound editor himself, the #1 ruler of your audio earballs, Patrick Musilek.
Yes, thank you very much, Sam.
You're welcome.
And it is true, I am the ruler.
So, yeah. Patrick, I hope you're going to put in, fanfare effects when you're introduced, and, it's going to be the most epic fanfare ever.
But, the biggest fanfare we've ever had on the podcast, way bigger. It would be great.
I can do that. Start
Excellent.
with a drum roll, end with a bang. 100%.
I keep saying you're the real wizard of the show.
Amen.
I do appreciate that. Thank you. It is always fun when this is such a ego thing, but whenever you guys mention me in the podcast, I'm like, well, I'm not cutting that out. Get a little mention. I like that.
Well, lucky you, we mention you at least 2 or 3 times an episode of the Patrick will fix that. Oh God, we're sorry, Patrick.
Well, I thank you guys for having me here. I really look forward to when we do these big episodes at the end of every year. And it's fun being a person that is mostly a behind the scenes person. It is always fun to come on and get to talk to you guys. So thank you for having me. And I want to thank all the listeners as well, because if you will maybe remember, last time I was on an episode of the show, you guys had me on right before I went into the hospital back in March. Before I had my bone marrow transplant to cure me of my leukemia. And I'm happy to announce that just a couple of weeks ago we found out, and it's a little different with leukemia than it is with other types of cancer, and my age has to do with it and everything. But basically, I can say to everybody that I have been officially cured of cancer.
Wow.
With a transplant, your cancer doesn't really go into remission. It's basically removed from you entirely. And as long as the transplant continues to go well and everything continues to be as fine as it has been, it's basically like my body's been reset to the body of a person that hasn't had cancer. And I want to thank all of the listeners and everybody and you guys here on the podcast who've been great to me the whole time. And I really want to thank Brittany, who filled in for me on the podcast while I was gone. She did a fantastic job. And so I want to just thank everybody who sent out the thoughts and the prayers and the well wishes and everything. It really did mean a lot to me. And so that's a really special thing that I wanted to share with you all here today. So,
well, congratulations, Patrick. That's super exciting. We're so happy for you.
Yes.
Great news.
Yes.
So good to hear.
Thank you. And I do real quick, I'm not going to talk about this forever, I promise, but I do have one other sort of special thing I wanted to say. And to pull the curtain back a little bit, we are recording this episode in November, but it's not going to be coming out for quite a while. When does this episode actually air? Do you know?
I think right at the new year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But a month or so from now, a little bit more than a month from now.
January 3rd, yeah. Happy 2026, everybody.
Hello, Happy New Year. I have something that I've been working on for quite a while that is, at this point, something that has to come to fruition or I'll just never release it ever. So in a nutshell, 4 years ago, I started working on a podcast that I was going to be doing with my nephew Hunter, who at the time was 10 years old. And I think way back in the olden days, Irvin and Aurelia and Sam, you guys were all working with me on Alohomora.
Yeah.
It was a much different time back then. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys remember when I started working on this project, it was a huge deal to me. And I had everything kind of ready to go. And then a bunch of stuff happened and life happened and cancer happened. And my nephew Hunter, who I've been doing the podcast with, he's grown up. He's now driving a car to school, which is something that was crazy to conceive of when we recorded this. And so basically, at the beginning of this project, it was supposed to be a podcast following my nephew Hunter's journey, reading and experiencing Harry Potter for the first time as he was growing up. And the initial idea was to record everything before and record everything, him reading all 7 books, watching the 7 movies over the course of 7 years or so, and then release everything at the end, rather than having it be some sort of an ongoing thing. Because I didn't know if at any point he would want to stop doing it, or he maybe wouldn't even like the Harry Potter story or anything like that. And so what ended up happening was we did the first season, and I worked on it harder than anything I've worked on in my entire life. We created original music for the podcast. We did a lot of work on it. And then we recorded the second season the following year when he was 11 years old. And he just wasn't feeling it as much. He wasn't enjoying the process as much. He loved the story, but he's just not a reader, you know? And I'm sure all of us here on the podcast, everyone listening has come across people in their lives who just are not readers. They don't enjoy it as much as we all do, right? And that's totally fine. Some reading's just not for everybody. And so Hunter hasn't gotten into the books. He hasn't continued to read them. But when I was diagnosed with cancer last year, we decided we were going to go through the process of watching the movies because I wanted to experience the story with him just in case something happened, which we joked about on this podcast a whole bunch. But so at this point now, we've watched all the movies. Hunter's experienced the entire story of Harry. And so what I'm going to do is at the very beginning of the current year listener that you guys are hearing this, but next year as of when we're recording this, sometime in the beginning of January, through Alohomora, though it's not really attached to Alohomora at all, it's my own project that Alohomora is being gracious to help me put out into the world and host and all that stuff. I'm going to be releasing the only season that there will ever be of my special Harry Potter podcast that is called Hurry Potter. And it's because of the rush we felt in our lives to get through this story before Hunter got too old and before anything else happened. And so it's just one season. It's only ever going to be one season. This is not some ongoing project. It's just something that people can consume. There's going to be 13 episodes of the show that we originally recorded back in 2021 when we read through the entire first book with Hunter. And it was me, my mother, and Hunter, and then his mother, my sister Sarah, and my very brand new newborn niece Chloe. We all are featured in the podcast in the original 13 episodes. And this Thanksgiving, next week, Hunter and I are going to sit down and we are going to record a secret special 14th episode that is going to be a conversation with him about his opinion of the entire Harry Potter story, having just read the first 2 books and then seen all 8 of the movies. So this is going to be this single project, all encapsulated in one thing, and it's going to be free. Everyone can listen to it no matter where you are. We're going to put it up. I don't know how it's going to be at this point. I don't have any of the details yet, but when you're listening to this listener, this should already be out into the world or very close to. So just go online, search for Harry Potter. You may have to search through the Alohomora website, but we all know what Alohomora is, so you can go there and check that out. And along with the podcast, we're going to be releasing our album. It is a full-length album of Wizard Rock songs, kind of Wizard Rock songs, also intro songs for each episode. We made specific, brand new, original songs for every single episode of the podcast, including original outros, original intros. We made a Birdie Bots theme song that we featured in every single episode where we were tasting and trying the Birdie Bots every flavored beans that Warner Brothers made, it's like a 10-year-old box I had that we were eating. It was hilarious.
Birdie Bots, Birdie Bots, Birdie Bots, Birdie Bots. Every flavor beans, it's all we got. Like it or not, so be good to me.
the whole podcast is great. The songs are great. The album's going to be available on Bandcamp. I don't have the link for that. Links for all this stuff hopefully will be in the doc for this episode in the notes, so everyone can check that stuff out. This is a huge project that I've spent a very big chunk of my life working on. I put everything I had into the album, into the music, into the editing of the thing. And it's basically just a really great time to something you can listen to with the entire family. Don't listen to it with someone that hasn't read the Harry Potter books before, though, because we do talk about certain things. You can listen to it as you go along, but I recommend that you read the chapters first. So if you're going to listen to this with a niece or a nephew or a daughter or a son or someone who's never heard it before, it's a great podcast to do that with, but make sure you read the chapter yourself first before you get to it. So that's the last thing I'll say about this. We'll probably record some content for it maybe in the next couple of weeks or so before with some of the Three Broomsticks hosts if they'll do it with me. But it's a huge project, and I'm very excited for it to finally be out into the world, and then I can basically forget about it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Three Broomsticks, for giving me the time to talk about this, and I hope some of you will maybe listen to a few episodes and let me know what you think. Thank you, everybody, very much. That's all I've got to say about that.
I'm so excited to listen to this because I remember when you announced it way back when, and was really looking forward to it. Then I'm so glad it's so weird how creative projects like this sometimes like they go dark for a little bit and then you never know what makes them come back to life. So really happy you and your nephew got to do this. Really looking forward to it, Patrick.
Thank you, Sam, for that. It's going to be a really big special thing. I hope everybody likes it.
Awesome.
And more songs for our jukebox. So that's always good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. And, this year-end episode with the whole team on it is always a special occasion, which, I think all of us really look forward to. But today is an extra special one because we have some sad news about it being the grand finale for one of our team.
Yes, I think as I'm sitting here, it's starting to hit me. So yes, everyone, listeners, this is my final time talking about Harry Potter out on the internet. I've made this decision probably multiple times in the last years, but finally it's the right time for me to say goodbye. The reason is not that I haven't had an absolutely fantastic time with my fellow hosts here at the pub, because I have, and it's been really, really great spending years talking with all of you about Harry Potter and, engaging with you guys in the comments and getting the feedback about what we're talking about. The reason is, as I'm sure many of you can imagine, that J.K. Rowling is J.K. Rowling now, and I just don't want to engage with it anymore. She's managed to do what don't think I've ever imagined she would be able to do. She's ruined this for me, and I'm gonna have to step away from it. So to protect myself and to protect the last shreds of goodness about the series that I still have. So this is my goodbye from the Three Broomsticks, but I hope you guys keep listening and keep engaging with everyone else, because they're truly a lovely bunch of people, and hanging out with them at the pub is always a good time.
We're gonna miss you so much.
Yeah. Oreo,
We'll miss you a lot.
Yeah.
we're gonna miss you so much. Like, you and I have been podcasting together for over 7 years since, my first episode on Alohomora way back when, and, it'll be very, very weird not meeting with you regularly at the pub. But always welcome back should you want a butterbeer.
Thank you.
Yeah, Aurelia, gonna miss you a ton.
Yeah, I think it'll hit me in 2026 that I've given up my spot in the pub, but I'm sure other lovely people will fill it just as well.
Well, you're always welcome, and I hope you feel comfortable staying in touch with all of us. Even if you're not in the pub. So,
And hey, there's a lot of other great books out there other than the Harry Potter books.
This is also true.
Yes.
Sounds fake, personally.
Irvin, you wrote 2 books.
About Harry Potter, though.
Yeah, I don't think those count as outside of Harry Potter.
One's about Dumbledore and one's about Malfoy. They're not about Harry Potter. Semantics.
there's still
We
time.
do love semantics around here.
So for the final time, from my voice at least, I'm going to give this a proper German pronunciation. I want to give a huge thanks to Caroline Oberländer over on our Patreon who bought us this round of drinks at the pub. Cheers!
Woo! Thank you!
Thank you!
We need the drinks.
We do.
We really do.
And if you'd like to buy us a round at the pub, head up over to patreon.com/3broomsticks with the numeral 3 to sign up. You can listen, if you're so inclined, to Sam and me talking and rambling about Quidditch and making up our own stories in our fake Quidditch universe. Or you can listen to Ev and me talking about British terminology in the Harry Potter world and just in general. So yeah, give it a go. We would really appreciate your help in keeping the lights on at the Three Broomsticks so we can talk about Harry Potter for a long time to come.
Irvin, Chef, our Patreon patrons, they're hungry. They want to know what we have to serve them today.
Well, today I think we should begin with the 7 ingredients of today's special.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Which, for episode 77, are, as we mentioned, the main 7. I believe Joe Rowling referred to the main 7 at the premiere for the last movie. But they are basically the 7 main characters in Harry's generation. So they are, in no particular order except the one we'll be going in, Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, Ginny Weasley, Neville Longbottom, Luna Lovegood, and Draco Malfoy. So yes, we are going to go one by one and talk about what we think is each character's defining moment. For each character, we are going to go chronologically throughout the series. So, I think that'll sort of present a good arc for each character of the different defining moments that we've picked out.
It'll be like a clip show, but good.
Exactly, yeah. For episode 77, we're doing the mother of all clip shows, except we're actually putting in a lot of work and hours of recording. Mm-hmm. So, I believe, who else could we start with but Harry Potter, the titular boy who lived.
My boy!
So I believe the first defining moment for Harry, is the one that Oreos picked.
Yes, so, I'm not sure if you felt the same, but because we see the story through Harry's eyes, I was like bouncing between moments because I feel like there's so many, but also like we just see the story from his perspective. So I picked one very early on because I think this is a moment that speaks true to Harry's like core values and beliefs. And it's maybe not so much a moment. I think you could sort of say his journey to Hogwarts, journey to becoming a wizard. So it's him turning down Draco and accepting Ron. So, seeing aside from like the class, and, Ron being poor and Draco coming from a wealthy background. And also just, I think the core thing that Harry stands for is he's not accepting bullying and he will always defend people who are being bullied. So that is my moment for Harry.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I think that's a really good choice because, sort of the side of Harry that is like champion of the downtrodden, like this is, the first and perhaps one of the best examples we see of that on display.
Yeah.
When I was looking for the moments, I was surprised to find how many of them I really could be picked from the first book. Well, obviously apart from characters like Luna, because she doesn't figure in the first book at all. Mm-hmm. But really it just shows that you can pick up on their character from the very start.
Yeah.
And that makes sense in terms of like from a writing, like from the perspective of like you're writing a story, you want to give your readers a sense of who your characters are from the beginning. And I think there are some just really incredible moments in that first book where you're just like, oh, I know just from this moment exactly what this character is like.
And that is not to say that there is no growth. There is growth throughout the books, but at the kind of the core of who they are is already there in the first book, which I think is quite cool.
And it's fun, too, because a lot of the characters don't really none of these characters have too big of like a twist or anything to their story at all. Like once you meet them and kind of get a general sense of who these people are, they're kind of the same the entire time. I mean, they obviously grow, like you said, Ev, but there isn't like if this was a crazy, like, hard fiction type of like crazy fantasy story, probably some of these characters would betray the others and they would go on these long crazy quests and become different people by the end, but they're essentially the same sort of the same natured people that they are at the beginning. And I think that speaks to just the sort of childish nature of the books, especially at the beginning as well.
But I'd also say it's probably just more accurate to real life.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. See, it's interesting that you guys focused on the earlier books, because when I was doing this, and I didn't like intend this, I literally just went character by character. And when I was done, I was like, the only character whose moment for me is from the first 4 books is Harry. Like everyone else I had from the latter half of the series. When, like you said, they're still sort of who they were internally, and there's just like a great moment where they're like, ta-da, like here it all is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree that like, you know, it makes sense for a lot of these moments to be from the beginning because, yeah, like she has to tell us who these characters are so then we can, you know, stay with them and stay for the moments where they show who they are. The other fun part of this exercise is you get to see what people think are like the defining characteristics that for the characters that we want displayed.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, like, I really like Ev's pick, and I think one of the defining characteristics of Harry is his like, sort of instinct and his way he can react on instinct in any situation, and that's through the entire series. And in these 2 examples of him meeting Draco, and his first instinct with Draco is this isn't really a great guy, and his first instinct of Ron is to trust him. It just right away from those 2 examples, it tells you his instinct is on point, basically.
Yeah. Talk of his instincts, my moment is up next, also from Sorcerer's Stone from Harry. I think his defining moment in the series is when he's fighting the troll. There's this great line when he's fighting the troll. So the troll is going for Ron, and Harry then did something that was both very brave and very stupid. He took a great running jump and managed to fasten his arms around the troll's neck from behind. And I was like, I mean, my boy, both very brave and very stupid. I really can't think of a better summary.
It's iconic.
It really is. And I feel like, again, it's Sorcerer's Stone, but we already see Harry's like whole saving people thing, which is such a big part of his character. The way he acts on instinct, like, you know, clearly jumping onto a full-grown mountain troll was not like a thought-through plan. It was like, oh, my instinct is to jump at the thing trying to kill everyone. Yes. But we also see, like, his reflexes and, like, the way he takes on a leadership role in these, like, moments of conflict. Like, Harry's good at this kind of thing. I would argue he is sort of a natural-born leader, and this is sort of, I think, the first moment we really see that from him.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think we definitely see him as a natural leader, especially in those situations. And I mean, Hermione even comments about this at the end of this book, where she says, you know, books and cleverness. And I cannot remember how it then goes on, but basically
there are more important things like friendship and bravery, and Harry, just be careful.
Yeah, and speaking of that exact moment you're talking about, Aurelia, that is kind of what I'm talking about in my moment, which I'm up next after Irvin. So I think, to me, Harry's most defining moment isn't really a moment that has to do with Harry, but it's almost more the things that Ron and Hermione tell Harry before he goes into to face Quirrell. You know, at that point, he thinks it's Snape. So he's still thinking that he's going to basically go himself to fight someone that's way above his rank, which I think Quirrell is actually obviously above his rank as well. But like, Snape would be significantly more formidable in their eyes specifically because they kind of laugh at Quirrell throughout the book. But like, It's Hermione, it's Ron telling Harry, you know, that's chess. You have to make sacrifices. And in the movie, when he's like, it's you that has to go on, not me, not Hermione, it's you. And then Hermione says whatever she says, exactly what we were just talking about. Like, you know, it's not books and cleverness. You're the one that has to go on. And it's Harry's decision to do that. And it's the author telling us, like, these two characters who we've grown to love over the course of the book are telling you how you should feel about Harry. And these are the traits that he has. And here's him embodying that whole situation and taking what they're telling him and believing it. And then he rides with it the entire rest of the series.
I really like that because I think we see a similar thing happen later when it's Ron and Hermione who are the ones who realize that, like, Harry would be such a good Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, and, like, Harry is the one who sort of doesn't see himself in that, like, heroic role. So I think definitely, like, even just the fact that it has to be Ron and Hermione who see that in him speaks to his personality, that he is more humble about those things, and they are seeing clearly that he is the hero in the story, and they're like, you can do it. You have to go and do it.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to sort of, you know, reflect upon yourself and your defining moments. Like all the other characters, you know, we are picking their moments from a third person point of view from Harry. With Harry, it's trickier because, like, we're privy to his inner monologue. So yeah, in a lot of ways, sort of the way Harry and Ron look at him would sort of be the closest parallel we have.
True.
And I like the way that this part specifically in the book is reflected in the 7th book when they realize Harry has to go on by himself. And it's hard for me to watch. I just got done watching the 8th movie a few days ago with my nephew for the first time. It is really hard to watch Hermione deliver the line, "I'll go with you," right? It's like one of the most heartbreaking lines in all 8 of the movies. And but without it's a direct reflection of these moments where they're telling Harry he has to go. They don't want him to go without them, but they know he's the one that has to go by himself. So it's very powerful across the entire series.
Yeah. And I'd also say that, like, an important part of Harry's character is the fact that he's like, it's gotta be me. I'm gonna go fight it alone.
Yes, there's that too.
And everyone being like, no, Harry, no, we're going with you. So yes, this also does a great job of illustrating that.
Okay, so we're going to skip a few books after Sorceress/Philosopher's Stone, because my moment is from the end of Order of the Phoenix, which is when Harry's smashing Dumbledore's prized possessions. So I've pulled out the quote from it. I hope you will indulge me in reading it out because I think it's really brilliant, and I think it really shows what I needed to show. Harry felt the white-hot anger lick his insides, blazing in the terrible emptiness, filling him with the desire to hurt Dumbledore for his calmness and his empty words. "My greatest strength, is it?" said Harry, his voice shaking as he stared out at the Quidditch stadium, no longer seeing it. "You haven't got a clue. You don't know." "What don't I know?" asked Dumbledore calmly. It was too much. Harry turned around, shaken with rage. "I don't want to talk about how I feel, all right?" "Harry, suffering like this proves you're still a man. This pain is part of being human." "Then I don't want to be human," Harry roared, and he seized one of the delicate silver instruments from the spindle-legged table beside him and flung it across the room. It shattered into 100 tiny pieces against the wall. "I don't care," Harry yelled at them, snatching up a lunoscope and throwing it in the fireplace. "I've had enough. I've seen enough. I want out. I want it to end. I don't care anymore." He seized the table on which the silver instrument has stood and threw that too. "You do care," said Dumbledore. He had not flinched or made a single move to stop Harry demolishing his office. His expression was calm, almost detached. "You care so much. You feel as though you will bleed to death with the pain of it." "I don't," Harry screamed, so loudly that he felt his throat might tear, and for a second he wanted to rush at Dumbledore and break him too, shatter that calm old face, shake him, hurt him, make him feel some tiny part of the horror inside Harry. "Oh yes, you do," said Dumbledore, still more calmly.
Very powerful.
Lots of feelings.
Yeah.
All the feels.
So many feelings.
Yeah.
I know. I remember reading it for the first time and thinking, wow, shit's really got real, didn't it?
Yeah.
I remember just sort of having to stop and think. I was like, oh, okay, we're going there. And I think I think I picked this defining moment because we see the toll of all the people saving thing and being the chosen one and growing up an orphan with people who are at best barely tolerate him has taken on Harry. Because we tend to kind of laugh about it and discuss how it was all kind of good for him in the end because it was character building. But here Harry is talking not just to Dumbledore, but to the readers, because we actually have no idea what it's like to be Harry kind of from the inside as much as we get his internal monologue and everything. So it's a defining moment from my point of view because it shows his strength of character. He's been through a lot and it didn't just make him stronger. He is actually falling apart in this moment, as well as Dumbledore's possessions. But he also pulls himself back together and he doesn't let it destroy him. And he's very vulnerable and believable hero.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I think that, part of what makes him a hero is the fact that he is able to, that he feels these things so strongly, that he cares so much, that he loves so deeply, and therefore is able to feel this kind of pain. And I think sometimes the mythic sort of hero is often someone who is just like, yeah, they're always strong, nothing bothers them. And we see that it does deeply hurt him, and yet he keeps going. And that's what makes him a hero.
And we really missed out on this scene in the movie.
Seriously.
I mean, if we want to tally up how many of these signature moments are in the movies, I would bet money that less than half.
Yeah, that would actually be interesting to know.
Yeah. But no, I think without these moments, and y'all know that I don't particularly care for order, but I think if we didn't have this sort of breakdown, I don't know that the series would have sort of endured as well as it does.
100%.
I think the fact that Harry is so human and that we do see him falling apart the way any reasonable person would, and then sort of come back to fight anyway. I think that's sort of why so many people felt so deeply for him and sort of why his story stuck with us decades later.
And he's also falling apart in a very, it's not a, all clean and palatable way of falling apart. He's falling apart in a very messy way of wanting to rage and shake Dumbledore and throw his possessions and screaming at the top of his lungs. It really hits you hard because it's it's not the sort of more palatable way of falling apart that you sometimes see.
Right, the single manly tear that we'd see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that ability of Order of the Phoenix to sort of rectify one of the issues that pops up in the first 4 books, which is Harry's superhuman emotional either neutrality or ability to sort of take in horrors and not really have them faze him. But we have, PTSD hitting him at the beginning of the book, and then this sort of ultimate climax of his emotional storyline of Order, giving him a much more balanced approach and reminding us all that he is 15 years old. This is a really good part where Harry's character gets rounded in a way that makes this series everlasting, like you're saying, Urban.
Yeah. Ev, that was a really good choice. I'll admit this one wasn't at all on my radar, and now I was like, yes, oh my God. You're so right.
Really great.
Thank you.
This is all for a bit and a total joke, but you first 3. I will call you out by name. Aurelia, Irvin, and Patrick. You're all cheaters. You chose stuff from the first book. Of course that characterizes Harry. That's the place where we get to know him, the more difficult bits.
Sam, that was the assignment.
Where it gets really tough in proving who these characters are. is in the small, minute, very memeable Tumblr moments only that the fandom can thrash to death for 18,000 different minutes. And so therefore, I have chosen the correct one, even though I really like the last one that we just went over. It is the most memeable Tumblr moment of the lot. No need to call me Sir Professor. And
It is an excellent moment.
Yes. Yeah, and an excellent listener who leaves great comments, for the record.
Yes.
yes, indeed. Also very true. Shout out to you.
to the listener
Yes,
with
indeed.
the same name.
So, as you indulged Ev, you will indulge me as I read this quote.
Absolutely. You'll have to keep
Yeah,
indulging me
we
because I
will.
pulled the quotes for all of my moments. So I'm just warning you now in advance.
Excellent. He turned his wand, as in Snape. He turned his wand on Harry so fast that Harry reacted instinctively. All thought of non-verbal spells forgotten, he yelled, "Protego!" His shield charm was so strong, Snape was knocked off balance and hit a desk. The whole class had looked around and now watched as Snape righted himself, scowling. "Do you remember me telling you we are practicing non-verbal spells, Potter?" "Yes," said Harry stiffly. "Yes, sir." There's no need to call me sir, Professor. The words had escaped him before he knew what he was saying. Several people gasped, including Hermione. Behind Snape, however, Ron, Dean, and Seamus grinned appreciatively. "Detention, Saturday night, my office," said Snape. "I do not take cheek from anyone, Potter. Not even from the chosen one." End of quote. Now, one of the reasons why I picked this out, because we all have absolutely incredible, beautiful moments, is I believe it shows off a couple of different things in where Harry ends up as a character. One, his defense against the dark arts skills and his protective magic is so strong. It's literally taking out one of the most powerful wizards on the block. Taking him off guard, knocking him backwards. Snape is unprepared. That's how strong Harry has gotten at this point. It's also Harry's just won't put up with bullying, which I think speaks to the first moment that Aurelia picked out as well, right? Which is that he just has no patience for it at all. And that Harry realizes where authority is a correct place to obey and when it is not the correct place to obey authority, which I think really encapsulates Harry's character as a whole.
And he has this natural sass. He doesn't even have to think of it. It just happens. He doesn't have to plan it. It's just perfect.
Absolutely.
This is like a small, silly moment, but it really does encapsulate so many of the things we were talking about. Like, all the things I mentioned in mine, like his reflexes, his instincts, his being both very brave and very stupid at times. I feel like this really does do a great job encapsulating a lot of his character.
Yep.
Just a funny thing. So I was probably 9 or 10 when I first read this book. I did not get this at all. I don't even, I did not understand the joke. It went straight over my head. I was so confused. I don't know why. I just did not understand. And so I was like, why did Harry get detention? I'm so confused. So it took a little growing up to be able to understand the sarcasm and cheek. But I think a lot of those the themes you're just talking about in this moment fit really well for the moment I chose too, which is when Harry has his, I think, very epic showdown with Rufus Scrimgeour in the Weasleys' garden. And I think just like we see in that moment with Snape, and like you were just saying, Sam, it's he knows when to respect authority and when not to, and thinks carefully about whose authority he respects. Yeah. He doesn't just respect someone because technically they're supposed to be above him. And we see that sort of instinct in him really understanding what Rufus Scrimgeour is about. He sees through the lies and manipulation really clearly. And I think if we bring it back to the beginning from that first moment that we talked about, when Harry sees Draco for who he is immediately. And then with Rufus Scrimgeour is trying a lot harder to hide who he is than Draco is.
Yeah.
But Harry still really sees underneath that surface. And also we see him being extremely strategic. He is good at knowing when to stay silent, when to show his cards. Like, he is navigating this very cleverly, which also speaks to that sort of thinking on his feet, sort of figuring out how to deal with a thorny situation. And of course we see that loyalty to Dumbledore. That's really a through line throughout the series. Dumbledore's man through and through, sticking up for the underdog with Stan Shunpike. I think I love this scene, and I think it really encapsulates a lot of Harry's skills.
Excellent.
Yeah, agreed. It's a great scene.
Especially the loyalty to Dumbledore, because the F's moment that she picked, and then where Harry does destroy Dumbledore's office. And then obviously you have the whole moment where Dumbledore picks him up at the beginning of Half-Blood Prince, and Harry's a bit like, oh, well, I've sort of like trashed his office the last time we hung out.
Awkward.
He's a little bit awkward, and then there's this moment where he's like, you're just Dumbledore's man through and through, and he's like, yep. So, yeah.
Yeah, the morality in this scene, the ability to pierce directly into sort of Harry's soul, and I think encapsulate how the reader feels as well. Rowling has done a great job of building us up to this moment where this lands with Harry. It doesn't feel different or awkward. This is exactly the right stance that he should be taking from a writing standpoint and also from a morality standpoint. And it's crystal clear in this who Harry is.
Yeah, and it took him 7 books to get to that point as well. So this is sort of the culmination of the things that the conversations, the bad conversations he's had in previous books, trying to convince Slughorn to give him the memory, and then just allowing other people to kind of take advantage of him, and then also witnessing things like Hagrid accidentally spilling secrets all the time. So like it's this sort of culmination of him learning from all of these mistakes that have been made around him by himself and other people to then become a lot smarter in this situation at the end of in the last book.
Yeah, I would say this is a very like mature Harry that we see in this moment, and it's sort of like, it's encapsulating all of the themes that we've talked about throughout, but it's like the more mature version of them.
I don't think Order of the Phoenix Harry could have done that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, like, for a change, he's taking all his, like, I won't put up with BS energy, but, like, thinking things through and not just, like, doing whatever pops into his head. Like, he's not jumping on the troll at this point. He's, like, actually, like, giving very measured, thought-through responses, which, like, is not exactly what I think of when I think of Harry, but is definitely, like, a great, like, evolution of his character. Okay, so that's Harry Potter. I feel like sort of we were pretty consistent on, like, what we wanted to highlight about Harry in choosing these moments. Like, we got a consistent portrayal running through. Mm-hmm. So let's see if we can keep that energy going with Harry's faithful sidekick. How about Ron Weasley?
Okay, so my number one moment for Ron Weasley, someone else stole first, and we're going to talk about that later. So my second moment was there's the moment when Harry and Ron aren't talking, but then Snape makes this really insulting comment about Hermione's teeth that are growing rapidly, and he's like, I see no difference. And we have both Harry and Ron, like, screaming at Snape at the same time. They're just, like, so infuriated. And to me, there's something in that kind of encapsulates Ron in both his best and his worst in one moment, where he is being absolutely infuriating. He's not talking to Harry because of dumb things. We see all of his insecurities at sort of full throttle. But we also see that, like, at the end of the day, like, when it really matters, he and Harry are like in lockstep here. They are on the same side. They care about the same things. They both are going to defend Hermione. They're both going to like call out unfairness and unkindness when they see it. And like at the end of this moment, Ron goes back to not speaking to Harry, and it's like we see the both. I think this is a beautiful moment of sort of where we see both sides to Ron's personality. We see sort of the more essential, or by essential I mean like the truest, best part of him. That is like why he and Harry are such great friends, why they fight for what's good together, and also some of the less good parts of him, how those insecurities get in the way of him being the really, really true best friend that he could be. Because in this moment, we see Ron being like both a terrible friend and an amazing friend at the same moment. You know, he's a terrible friend to Harry, but he's an amazing friend to Hermione.
Yeah, and I think it's fun. It's good to point out that the entire encapsulation of a person is not always just the good parts of a person. It's the bad parts of a person as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, especially where Ron Weasley is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that
I
too.
feel bad for poor Ron.
Don't. He's a snake and a weasel.
I think in Harry Potter, you literally can't be both.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They are polar opposites in Harry Potter.
I think you can be both. But anyway.
He's both, as in people who are Griffinslins.
He's a wiggly weasel.
Sam, you're just saying words at this point.
Griffinslin?
I'm
Yeah.
very confused right now. Is it some kind of a Gryffindor
Slytherin.
targeted slur? Because
No.
Oreo and I would not stand for this.
No, it's
Sam.
I literally am a Gryffindor. It's tattooed on my body, Ev.
What, the Griffin slit?
No, Gryffindor, you childish buffoon. That's a joke. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No. I think that Ron is just very much a little bit more like Percy than people think. And Percy is, you know, how people like are like Huffleclaws, like our Irvin over there, or Griffin Claws.
How
or
f***ing dare you?
you said you said at your own book release that you're a Huffleclaw.
I would never say such a thing. I've never said that in my lifetime.
You did.
I am a Ravenpuff, which doesn't sound stupid, unlike
I'm so sorry.
Hufflepuff.
I'm so sorry. I
You
got it
should be.
reversed.
the
my
semantics.
You
thought
should be sorry.
was that you were a Hufflepuff first and then a Ravenclaw, because the way that you split those is by primary house, secondary house.
No, you split them the way that sounds halfway decent.
Dear listeners, please put your opinion of this and how rad I am in the comments of this episode. Anyways, the point being is that, you know, Percy is very ambitious. He's really a Griffinslin, as some people call it. Some people just do the, you know, a Slither in, so it's like a Griffin in, but that sounds terrible. So a Grifferin.
Yeah, it is just Grifferin. You're just saying words.
Grifferslin is much better. Anyways, so that's what my thoughts on Ron are. But anyway, we can get back to your actual point, which is about this wonderful moment that you've chosen.
Well, I think this is a perfect segue, though, into Sam, your moment. About
my
Ron.
point.
So, yeah, we can go into that.
Yeah. I mean, one of Ron's biggest things going for him is that his friendship is real, and he's very authentic as a friend. So you kind of know when he doesn't like you, and you know when he does like you, and you know when he's jealous or when he's proud, and all of those different things coming out. Like he is emotionally authentic with you as a friend. So I have this moment, I think, which is reflected in a lot of what we're discussing throughout this chapter, especially in Deathly Hallows. But we get this wonderful moment of Ron coming hat in hand back to Harry in Goblet of Fire after the first task. And I'll read the quote here. "Harry," he said very seriously, "whoever put your name in that goblet, I reckon they're trying to do you in." It was as though the last few weeks had never happened. As though Harry were meeting Ron for the first time, right after he'd been made champion. "Caught on, have you?" said Harry coldly. "Took you long enough." Hermione stood nervously between them, looking from one to the other. Ron opened his mouth uncertainly. Harry knew he was about to apologize, and suddenly he found he didn't need to hear it. "It's okay," he said, before Ron could get the words out. "Forget it. No, said Ron. I shouldn't have. Forget it, Harry said. Ron grinned nervously at him, and Harry grinned back.
They're adorable. They're just so
Really cute.
adorable.
They're so cute, and this is such like what it is like, at least what it was like for me in male friendships of people kind of messing up and coming back, and how instantly forgiveness is granted sometimes when between any friends. And so I just found this is Ron in a nutshell. Somebody who absolutely will mess up, will be in the wrong, but will eventually come around and be the person to come and apologize, and be the person to try and not just apologize, but undo the harm. Ron doesn't immediately apologize here. He immediately tries to undo the harm by being straight on Harry's side and showing him that. And I think that's really brilliant about Ronald Weasley.
Yeah.
I love this moment. This was one of the other moments I was thinking of. And I do really love how fast like Harry forgives him, because to me it kind of speaks to what I was just saying before of like that Harry and Ron are always like on the same side, and Harry knows that. He just like what he wanted was Ron to like show up and say he was on the same side, and to what he wanted is what Ron just did. And so as soon as he does it, he's like, okay, that's like, I don't need to worry about it anymore. So I feel like the problems between them are so often just like such dumb stuff that's very like, as soon as it's gone, it's like there was no problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very relatable.
Totally.
Also, just apropos of nothing, when he's like, they're trying to do you in, I just saw Pygmalion this week, and so all I could think of is Eliza Doolittle, them what pinched her hat, done her in.
I don't know the reference, so that's really just...
It's the play My Fair Lady is based on, if you've ever seen that. Yeah. But yeah, it's great fun, and I feel like this is sort of one of Ron's better moments, is that he sort of does try to make up for it when he messes up, because he really does mess up, I would argue, as much as any of the characters we're discussing. Mm-hmm. But he does then try to fix it. Unlike Draco, which is why I suppose Ron's a good guy. So I think that Ron is, like, best portrayed in the first 3 books. Like, Ron is pretty damn great in the first 3 books. Yeah. And then he's pretty not in the latter 4. And I find it fascinating, and I'm not gonna lie, kind of satisfying that none of us picked his like really great moments in the first 3 books. We're like, no, let's like talk about like his insecurities and his flaws.
I beat McGonagall's chess labyrinth. I'm going to be the most strategic Gryffindor you've ever seen in your life, except for that promise has never ever come back to.
I mean, they do play chess once at some point over holidays.
Yeah, it's true, and I think Ron wins. So, good on him.
I also, like, right after this moment, I love how Ron just, like, goes straight into telling Harry how amazing he was at this tournament task, and just, like, fully being on his side and being like, you're so amazing and great, and, like, I find that really, really sweet, yeah.
Yeah. Which shows his contrition, because Harry being amazing is what Ron was so mad about.
But the thing is, this is not an unusual moment. Like, Ron does tell Harry when he does something great. Like, he is not...
Yeah.
And, like, I think this is really something that speaks to very positively, in my opinion, of Ron's character, is that even though he's struggling with all of these insecurities, like, we only see 2 times that they actually, like, cause actual problems. Like, the rest of the time he is like really on Harry's side and is like always being like, wow, like you played such a great Quidditch game, you're so good at this, so we really in general see that he is very complimentary of Harry despite those insecurities.
Yeah, and he stands up for him a lot, too. Yeah. Just like we were talking about both of them standing up for Hermione a little bit ago. Like, it's not... Ron doesn't just do that for Hermione because he likes her. He does that for Harry, too, because he likes him, too.
Yeah. Patrick, do you want to fast forward 2 years for us.
Yes. Okay. So my moment I chose was a moment from Half-Blood Prince, and I just like this moment a lot because when you think about Ron, he is a complex character in a lot of really interesting ways. But to me, the thing that stands out the most about him is his insecurities. And I feel the moment in the series when he thinks that Harry gives him the Felix Felicis before that Quidditch match, it shows what a totally confident Ron could be like. And I do feel like this moment impacts his character going forward. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in Half-Blood Prince that are in a very different situation than this, like with all the romantic stuff and whatnot. But like this gives Ron a taste of his confidence, and it shows him, if he does any self-reflecting at all, like how silly he is to be so down on himself all the time. And so the moment I picked is, there's just this sort of all encapsulating the Quidditch match that he wins, and then just the kind of the way he reacts before and after that, when he thinks he's taken the Felix Felicis, but he has not. So, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory, I think. And we've talked a lot about his insecurity already, so.
Yeah.
I think that's a great moment.
And there's more to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I like it because it shows that, his insecurity, like, isn't particularly well-founded, that, like, if he thinks he can, he actually can.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really glad you included that one.
Yeah.
So next up, we're going to go to Deathly Hallows, which, at least half of us picked, something in or around this moment. So
it's hard not to. Ron is such like a powerhouse in that book for some reason.
Yeah. So the moment I picked is when he's destroying the Horcrux, with sort of all of his insecurities spelled out all at once. So I have a bit of backstory to this. So one of the first essays I wrote on for MuggleNet was called Ron's Jealousy, basically about his insecurities and his character arc facing them. So at NYU, this was my freshman year of college, and NYU makes all their freshmen take a writing the essay course that, like, you learn how to write essays at 18 years old. It is something that is reviled by everyone at NYU. Like, I've talked with alumni like a decade after graduating, and we still loathe this course. So anyway, we were reading like short stories on jealousy or on trust or some crap like that I couldn't be bothered with. And so the assignment was like, write an essay for homework using the 2 sources we read in class and one of your choice. And I was like, great, I'm going to write an essay about Ron Weasley. Which I think would have got better if I hadn't misspelled the titles and misattributed the authors of the 2 essays I was supposed to be writing about.
Did you put Runil Waslib?
No, it was 2 essays. It was like on jealousy and on truth, and I think I swapped the authors of the 2 in like the one sentence I mentioned them in.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I think I got like a C or something. But on the upside, it was my 2nd or 3rd essay published on MuggleNet. So anyway,
nice.
Ron's Jealousy. Give it a read. But yeah, I think Ron's defining characteristics are his insecurity and specifically his jealousy of Harry. It's literally what we open with. Sam, you were saying that in Sorcerer's Stone, of course, we're going to introduce each character with their defining characteristics. Ron is introduced with, like, I'm so jealous of my brothers, I'll never measure up to them. And, like, that's literally his arc throughout. And this is sort of the glorious culmination where, like, the Horcrux gives voice to all of his insecurities. Because we sort of keep hearing about them. Hermione tries to explain them to Harry. Ron sort of talks around them. But here, the Horcrux is just like, bam, here we are. You're jealous because you think Hermione loves Harry. You're jealous because your mom loves Harry better. You're jealous of this, that, the other. You'll never amount to anything. And Ron sort of facing that down, seeing that that is his major weakness. And also the fact that finally Ron, with Harry's encouragement, manages to overcome it and finally smash the Horcrux and, like, regain his self-worth. That just sort of immediately popped into my head when we were doing defining moments. I think it's it's such a perfect encapsulation of who he is.
Yeah, that was one that immediately popped into my head too, but you beat me to it in writing it down. Yeah.
We can agree on them, by the way, for the record. We can pick the same
But
one.
it's more fun. It's more fun to hear, like, a variety. Because honestly, all of us might have just picked this one. But I find it really interesting, that moment that, like, we hear about certain insecurities that, like, I at least had never even picked up on before, like some of the stuff about his mom and, like, you know, the idea that his mom always wanted a daughter and he was like the last son before she got a daughter, and, like, you know, all of these things. I think, yeah, it, like, gives us a sense of everything, even, like, the deepest insecurities that he's never voiced out loud to Harry.
I mean, I think we can, you know, transition from that right to you know, the next moment, which I believe both Oreo and Ev picked out.
Yes, so this is very connected, and I think we touched on the points already a lot. So we all picked moments around Ron's struggle with self-worth, but I think the moment, because I did temporarily consider picking the chess thing in the first book, and I was like, no, that is just sort of like a one-off glory moment. So I picked this because it's one thing to, like, be ruled by your struggles with self-worth and, like, blowing up and running out. It's a lot different, like a very much harder thing to then admit that you were wrong and coming back. And Ron says that, like, he left and he instantly regretted it and he wanted to come back. But he couldn't because of all the security spells and all of that stuff. So he had to not only try to find a way back, but he had to go to Bill and admit that he abandoned his friends on this quest to defeat Voldemort, but he was trying very hard to come back. So that conversation, and that we don't obviously see, but that in and of itself, to just admit that you're wrong and actually being willing to face up to it and come back, that is, I think, where Ron shines when he overcomes that, you know, his insecurities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so clear how much Ron's insecurities play a part in who he is, right? His ability to overcome them, because he is, as we see in the Mirror of Erised, extremely insecure. He wants to do all of the things that everyone before him has done and more in order to prove himself above the rest. And yet, his ability to, A, realize that he's not that guy, and then B, move forward on that, I think is just such a huge character moment for him in all of these different places that we've spelled it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone could do it.
If I had to pick a second moment, I think I would have gone with the Mirror of Erised.
Right. It's so, I was thinking about that a lot.
Yeah. Just the fact that, like, his like we said, his deepest, darkest desire is to just, like, measure up, honestly.
Yeah. And I think I put this here in the doc as well. I was like, there's a moment when he says to Hermione and Harry, he says, why is everything our own rubbish? And it's like, I think that's one of the few times he openly admits his struggles with that. Because a lot of times, you know, there's a sort of a little dance that they do around wealth specifically, because Harry is so rich and the Weasleys are so poor. So there's a lot of, like, they're trying not to address it because both sides feel awkward about it. And this is one of the rare moments where Ron is just openly admitting that he hates it.
That's when his owl is choking on owl pellets.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's not because the owl is rubbish. It's because the pellets are too big and it's so tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be
Yeah,
fair,
it's because Ron is bad at taking care of things.
Exactly.
And to be fair to Ron, like, I don't think that part is insecurity. Like, him saying, why is everything I own rubbish? Like, that's not, I think there's insecurity around that, but then there's also this sort of, like, I wish I had the things that Harry has, like, which is a very fair desire. And, like, yeah, and it kind of makes Hermione and Harry kind of awkward, but it's, like, very fair that he's kind of just like, I wish I had those things, you know? It's not fair that I don't.
Yeah, like to Ron's credit, like his self-worth isn't tied into money. He's not like, oh, like, you know, I would be better, like rich people are better,
Yeah.
like, you know, money is whatever. Like he's just, you know, completely fairly unhappy at not having money. But I don't think he views that as like an indictment on character or anything, which is, you know, a good thing.
And I think his main insecurity around money comes from like the fact that like there are bullies actively making fun of him for not having money, you know, like I think like Draco Malfoy is constantly making fun of him for that. So like, of course it's going to be a sore point for him. But I think that, yeah, like that can be separate. His insecurity around being made fun of for not having money is, you know, can be separated from, yes, a fair desire to be able to have the things he wants.
Yeah, because the Horcrux doesn't come up with that. Like, when he's listing Ron's securities, there's nothing about, like, oh, also, you're so poor. It must suck to be poor.
Low blow, Horcrux, low blow.
Even the Horcrux wouldn't go that low.
They have Malfoy for that.
Only Draco Malfoy. Like, Voldemort wouldn't go there, but Draco Malfoy would.
But Draco would.
Which maybe speaks to the fact that Voldemort grew up without money also, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Harry grew up without money either. He just had a lot of it he didn't know, you know, so... I want to bring up something that... So sort of a question, and I didn't know at what point to bring this up in the conversation, but it seems like it would kind of work here. And we don't have to talk about this if you guys all disagree with me, but I don't know how I feel about, like, choosing a really triumphant moment, and I mean, I guess I did for Ron, but like choosing a really triumphant moment to define a character whose a large chunk of their character is like a struggle. Like maybe that it's I was struggling with how to word my thoughts here, because if Ron's character throughout a majority of the books is that he is insecure, choosing a moment where he overcomes his insecurity is a great moment for him, but I don't know if that's a defining character moment. Or maybe it is. I guess it depends how you look at what a defining moment is, and we don't need to get all into semantics and crap like that, but I don't know, did anybody else struggle with that kind of a thought when you were coming up with your moments?
This, for me, I actually, and I see where you're coming from there. For me, I would argue that even though, yes, he is often struggling, like, I do think that this triumphant moment does actually show his character the best, because I think that, like, pretty much every moment that Ron exists is him doing his best to overcome his insecurities. Like, I think that every moment that he says something...
I see.
Like, that's... Yes. And that's just my own personal perspective, where I'm like, he's dealing with these deep insecurities, but, like, 9 times out of 10, he's doing a good job of dealing with them.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
a great
that
point.
Other 1/10 that we all talk about, but, like, he, you know... Like, given how insecure he is, like, even the fact that he chooses to be friends with the smartest person in their year and the most popular person in their year, and, like, that he is, like, most of the time, like, a pretty good friend to them, I would say speaks to the fact that he is putting an effort always to overcome these insecurities. So, like, every time he is saying nice things about Hermione or Harry or showing up for them, and, like, you know, every time that I think he's, like, always kind of trying to overcome these insecurities. And to me, and maybe this is a good transition for Ev's moment, which is related to the Deluminator, I just really love the line where Ron says, like, Dumbledore always knew I would leave. And Harry says, no, he always knew you'd want to come back. And I think that's just a beautiful reframing, where it's easy to focus on
absolutely.
Ron is always like being insecure. And it's, I think my reframing would be, and yet he's always trying to overcome that.
Great point. I love it.
Yeah, I think that is a sexy transition for Ev. So
To answer the question on how the moment was being picked and whether there is a better or worse way to define it, I have to say my way of picking my moments was very unscientific in a way that it was literally the first moment that popped up when I was trying to think, okay, defining moment, this one, and sometimes I would be looking back, especially on Ron's moments, and thinking, oh, but there are other ones, like the way he is the kind of the guide for Harry and Hermione into Wizarding World, and he explains things to them, and it's like this is also kind of defining, but that's not the one I picked. Mm-hmm. So the one I picked was using the Illuminator to return to Harry and Hermione in Deathly Hallows. So take a sip of your butterbeer and listen to the quote that I pulled out for that. So this is Ron talking to Harry and Hermione once he returns. I was listening to the radio really early on Christmas morning, and I heard you. He was looking at Hermione. You heard me on the radio? She asked incredulously. No, I heard you coming out of my pocket. Your voice, he held up the Illuminator again, came out of this, so I took it out. Ron went on, looking at the Illuminator. And it didn't seem different or anything, but I was sure I'd heard you. So I clicked it, and the light went out in my room, but another light appeared right outside the window. It was a ball of light, kind of pulsing and bluish, like that light you get around a portkey, I knew this was it, said Ron. I grabbed my stuff and I packed it, then I put on my rucksack and went out into the garden. The little ball of light was hovering there, waiting for me, and when I came out it bobbed along a bit, and I followed it behind the shed, and then it went inside me. Sorry? Said Harry. Sure he had not heard correctly. It sort of floated towards me, said Ron, illustrating the movement with his free index finger, right to my chest, and then he just went straight through. It was here, he touched a point close to his heart. I could feel it, it was hot. And once it was inside me, I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew it would take me where I needed to go. So, for me, this illustrates several things about Ron's character. One, he's impulsive and does and says things he regrets in anger, but he cares deeply and he always comes around. And he's really funny. So he brings balance to the trio, because there is intensity to Harry and Hermione that is just a bit much without Ron, I think. And if you subscribe to the whole body, soul, brain theory of the trio, he's the body. So that's what I picked. And also the second, I think, was it Irvin, did you say about the Mirror of Erised? So that was another moment that I was thinking about as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of the perfect capstone to Ron's defining moments. I think we're sort of more in alignment on Ron than anything else, which says a lot to sort of how clear his character is, considering I feel like we have varying opinions on Ron on this podcast, but we're all like, no, like he is defined by his insecurities, by his fights with Harry, and how he comes back.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that's Ron for you. Ev, I think we're going to stay with you for one Hermione Granger, the cleverest witch of her age.
Yeah, so keep drinking that butterbeer. So the moment I've picked is the one that we've kind of already referenced previously, is realizing what she really values and putting her faith in Harry in Philosopher's Stone. So the quote I picked is this. Hermione's lip trembled, and she suddenly dashed at Harry and threw her arms around him. Hermione! Harry, you're a great wizard, you know. I'm not as good as you, said Harry, very embarrassed as she let go of him. Me? Said Hermione. Books and cleverness. There are more important things. Friendship and bravery and... Oh, Harry, be careful. So I feel like I bring this up a lot. Pretty much most of the time we talk about Hermione, so apologies for sounding like a broken record. So for me, this is Hermione's defining moment because this is when she realizes what is truly important to her above all else. And that if she sticks by Harry, she will be fighting the right fight. So if Harry is Dumbledore's man through and through, this is the moment where Hermione becomes Harry's. I was thinking, can't really say that. And it's a bit weird that it's hard to find a good equivalent of the same phrase for a woman without it sounding wrong. So I'm going to go with Harry's ally through and through.
That's very sweet. I never thought of Hermione as Harry's ally, I guess, through and through. And it makes total sense. She really is. She is always on Harry's side, always sticking up for him.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk about how Harry would be dead without Hermione, but
Amen.
She needs his soul as much as he needs her brain. So I think they need each other to work well.
This was my second choice when I was going through it because you're right. Like, I bring this up so much just because it's such a pure distillation of Hermione's values. Like, every time it's like, oh, why is she a Gryffindor? I was like, right here. Like, in 7 words, she's like, there are more important things, friendship and bravery. I was like, she's a Gryffindor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my moment, we're skipping ahead a bit to Prisoner of Azkaban. And I don't even, this moment just, really popped out to me. And there are so many Hermione moments, but this is just one of them. It's when she stands up to Lupin at the end of Prisoner Azkaban. And there's something about this moment. I mean, reading this moment again, it was very emotional for me. We see caps lock Hermione. She's like, I don't believe it. She is so betrayed. And there's something about okay, she's known that whole time that he's a werewolf. Classic. She figured that out on her own. She's always just figuring things out on her own. Think about the basilisk, think about Rita Skeeter. She's always just 10 steps ahead of everyone else. Also, she's told no one, which is also very classic Hermione. She just keeps things to herself. She's very bad at communicating. And the reason in this case why she keeps it to herself is because she feels a lot of empathy for him, which is also classic, where she sees that, he has the secret and she's probably for a good reason. If he doesn't want to tell anyone, I'm not going to tell anyone, and I don't want anyone treating him badly for this. And we also see in this moment, her real faith in authority, teachers, especially a good teacher. This is not the first time that a teacher hasn't been trustworthy, but this is Lupin. This is a good teacher. And the idea that he isn't trustworthy, it clearly just breaks her world and breaks her. And yeah, I just saw her reaction in this moment of just she is utterly heartbroken, betrayed. Yeah, I don't know. Something about it just felt like it was encapsulating a lot of Hermione.
I think this also reflects in a bunch of moments that I was thinking about, including setting fire to Snape.
Yeah.
Where it is this Hermione's seems like such a goody two shoes, and she is for the most part, but she knows where to split hairs. She knows what fine line actually is the line for her, and her ability to then move instantly into go, go, go mode, I think really encapsulates her as a person, where she is able to put aside everything else and finally realize what actually matters in moments of crisis. Because, there's the famous line of or worse, expelled. But in actuality, at the end of the day, when it comes down to Hermione, she will face Lupin head on, as you've put. And I think you've right on the money with this one.
You could say she sorted out her priorities.
She did. Yeah, she did.
Nice.
Yeah, and also I think we see just when like Hermione feels betrayed by you, she like turns. She is like, you know, she goes very quickly from being like, Snape would never, to being like, I will set fire to his robes. And here she's like going straight into, you know, screaming at him. I think, yeah, if she trusted you and you turn on, if you betray her, she does not take that lying down.
And also she trusted the DADA professor the previous year when Harry and Ron didn't.
Mm-hmm,
and that didn't turn out so well for her. So for her actually choosing to keep the secret and then, you know, in this moment thinking, oh, I shouldn't have. That's obviously also a big moment.
Yeah, I do think that her issues of trust in authority, like is less like a defining feature and more like a very important character arc of hers. Like, to sort of rebut what Patrick said earlier about the characters sort of being who they are, I think Hermione undergoes sort of a complete like 180 in terms of trusting authority figures, where, yeah, at the beginning, she's like, Snape's a teacher. He wouldn't do anything bad. And then as the books go on, she's like, oh, maybe we don't trust teachers unconditionally. Maybe we don't trust good teachers unconditionally. Maybe we don't even trust what's written down unconditionally. Rita Skeeter.
Gasp.
I gasp, shock, horror. Like, if I had pearls, I would clutch them. But yeah, I feel like sort of by the time we get to Order of the Phoenix, Hermione trusts no one and nothing unconditionally. So I think this is an important part of that journey for her.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that I think it's a strong part of her personality that she wants to have authority figures be the ones kind of, like, I think she really wants authority to be trustworthy and like, yeah. I mean, sure, it doesn't everyone, but I think that, like, Harry and Ron are more likely to be like, well, you know, we just, like, enjoy sort of, no matter who the authority is, even if it's someone they like and trust, they're more likely to be like, yeah, but, like, we might break some rules. We might, like, you know, cause a little chaos. Whereas Hermione, I think, is more like, she really cares about whether the authority figures are trustworthy. And over time, she starts to realize that they aren't always. So I'd say, yeah, it's like her trust in authority figures is not an essential part of her character, but I think that sort of her desire for authority to be, like, right and ethical and
to be worthy
of trust, I think is very defining.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I also really like, Sophia, that you chose a moment, like I was saying earlier, that isn't really like a triumphant moment for Hermione. You know, I think a lot of the moments everyone chose for all of these characters are big, positive, triumphant moments, and this is not one for her.
Yeah.
So I think that leads us to my moment. And so my moment I chose is in Goblet of Fire. And Irvin had to remind me of that because it's been quite a while since I've read these books, as I have to, for my own sake, let everybody listening to the podcast know. But also everybody knows that I'm not a very, very big fan of Hermione. If Hermione was a real person in real life, I would not be her friend. And I like hearing you guys talk about her distrust of authority and things like that, because to me, the defining characteristic of Hermione is that she has to know everything. And basically, she does know everything almost all the time. And that is something that is established from the moment you meet her. And it's something that continues throughout the entire series. And there are moments, obviously, when she gets things wrong. And that's just part of the story. But the moment I actually chose is pretty much a very long, it's not a single moment, but it's her sort of creating spew, because I think that perfectly showcases how Hermione thinks she knows what's best for everybody in almost every situation. And I think the reason people don't necessarily view this as a bad part of her character is because a vast majority of the time, she is right in a lot of the situations. But still, it's the fact that she always thinks she knows what's best. And there are, you know, you can go through the books and there are so many times where she's acting a specific way to get Harry and Ron to do what she wants them to do. Whether it's just something super simple like, oh, she's, you know, badgering them about doing homework or something, which they obviously should do. So she's right about that. But there are so many instances in the books where because Hermione knows something specific, she is basically the one dictating what's happening. And so that's why I chose this moment. And again, it's not really a specific moment, but it's just, to me, it's one of the defining things of her character is that she always knows what's best. And so that's why I chose this moment. I know it's not a very positive thing, but it's not a positive thing at all. But as I said, I'm not a big fan of Hermione. So
fair enough. Like, Hermione is flawed. You know, we had a really fun episode about it recently.
Sure, as everyone is.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's totally fair to highlight one of her less glowing moments.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point about, like, the fact that she's right, I think does sort of soften, like, I think does make, you know, if she was wrong, then she would be utterly insufferable. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Insufferable know-it-all.
Yeah, like, if she was, so I do think that, yeah, the fact that she's right does sort of soften the blow of how obnoxious she is some of the times. But yeah, no, I think that she does, she's very bossy. She does, you know, believe she knows what's right for other people. And yeah, is going to push that even when other people don't want that, which is can be a very frustrating, personality trait.
Yeah.
But also, like, this goes on to define the early part of her career, according to Rowling.
Yeah.
Like, she goes on to work in the Department of magical creatures or international something like that early on to continue the spew like fight. So this is absolutely a huge part of Hermione, which is I must stand up for the moral reason, the moral rightness of things. And of course she has her own definitions, which people are going to agree or disagree with, but her courage in being able to stand up for what she believes in makes her Gryffindor and encapsulates her pretty well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, there's a better and worse ways to be an activist, and hopefully by the time she's working at the ministry, she's a better activist and she actually manages to improve something for the elves instead of kind of just driving her agenda without really stopping to think, should I be doing it this particular way, or should I maybe stop and think about it a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, this is so textbook 15-year-old activist. So, like, we've been there. We remember them. So, yeah.
She's a bit of a, a lot of a black and white thinker.
Yeah.
So the nuance isn't really something that comes naturally to her. And the
or to
moment with-
Gryffindors, I might say.
Yeah, to lesser and greater extent to some of them more than
I mean,
others.
Dumbledore's incredibly nuanced and he's a Gryffindor, but that's fine.
Wow. Let's not bring him into this. This might take a while.
But moving on to Hermione trying to fight the good fight and affect change, we have a much more positive example that both Oreo and Sam agreed on.
Yes, so we both picked the moment of Hermione creating Dumbledore's army. And I think there's some points we've already touched upon in this discussion about Hermione. This is, for me, a real big turning point in her character growth. We see her maybe more as the know-it-all at the beginning, and she, I think, really partially throughout book 4 and potentially with Spew, but we don't see it as much on the page. She comes to this moment in Order of the Phoenix where she has this, desire to learn to be ready to fight the fight because she is friends with Harry Potter. She knows what's going on. She knows she needs to be ready. And she's at this point ready to be like, right, ministry and authority doesn't matter. This is more important. And I need to stand up for what is the right thing to do. And I mean, we've seen this beforehand because she is a Gryffindor for a reason.
Yeah.
I think we see this whenever she supports Neville against Snape's bullying, and when she genuinely stands up to Snape's bullying and Draco's bullying, or when she supports Hagrid with the Buckbeat situation when Ron and Harry are too occupied with Quidditch. I don't even remember. And even when she attempts Spew, she has this need to fight for what she needs, what she thinks is right. And this is where we see it, I think, probably in the most productive ways, where she has the biggest impact, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think also too, Hermione's so about education, and is prioritizing education consistently. And so this is her creating the DA is sort of a mix of like what makes Hermione Hermione, which is of course like there's an altruistic and a selfish nature intertwined together. She wants to learn better herself, and she also thinks others should and wants to provide the opportunity. And of course she goes with Harry, who has shown to be, other than Dumbledore in the building, one of the best people that she knows has survived and stood up to the dark arts. In addition to that, her ability to sort of gather the troops to then give off to somebody else, I think is where Hermione really glows in these 7 books. Obviously, she goes on to do a lot of great things. If you believe Cursed Child, she goes on to be Minister of Magic. But this like moment of, I'm going to put together all these pieces so that we can all learn better, feels exactly like Hermione to me.
And I think it really speaks positively to her personality, character, that she, she always wants to be the best. However, when she sees that someone else is better than her, she is, like, willing to step aside and have them be the one in charge and, like, sort of create a platform for them. I think it's really beautiful how, she is the one organizing all of the DA. She's the one who really starts it. And so she like throws herself into that part, but she really never gets in Harry's way. She's always doing her best to make him, like, she even actively like has them all vote to have Harry be the leader. Like, it's clearly very important to her that this is Harry's thing. And that she knows that he is better at it than her, and like is willing to, like, she's okay with that. Like, or at the very least, she acts like she's okay with that and, like, prioritizes that.
Yeah, it's why I think it's such a terrible choice to make her a Minister of Magic in Cursed Child, because, like, Hermione is not minister material. She is going to, like, run the Department of Magical Law and, like, work behind the scenes to affect change and support the Minister of Magic in making the world a better place. But she's never going to be the one, like, who's the figurehead, who's the face on the poster, who's leading the charge.
I'm not convinced by that. I think I agree with that. I think that in this moment, she knows that in this specific skill, Harry is better at it than she is. And so she puts him in charge. And that doesn't mean that she could never be the figurehead or the leader. It just means, to me, it actually shows amazing leadership. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think it would make her a great Minister of Magic to be able to see other people's skills and be like, okay, you're really good at this. You're delegating. You're saying you're really good at this. I'm going to make sure that you can do it. So I'm not convinced that that this is proof that she shouldn't be Minister of Magic.
I think indeed it goes to show that Hermione's very much if I can't find somebody else to do this better, I'm going to do it myself sort of person. Yeah. And Hermione continues to think that about herself all the way up until the Ministry. And that you're right here, Sophia, in terms of like, Hermione recognizes somebody else is better. And so I think that would show fantastic leadership at the Ministry level if you're able to let people shine where they shine.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think is like honestly kind of incredible given how much Hermione really wants to be the best at everything, and yet she is capable of standing aside and letting other people, and not just capable, but she encourages it. She's the one who makes it happen. So I think actually, yeah, that's exactly what you need.
Well, she wants to be the best, but she wants to learn even more. Yeah. Which I think is why she's like, listen, if Harry knows better, I want to learn, so I will learn from him.
And she thinks about the end goal, the big picture. What is best for the end goal? Harry being in charge.
Yeah.
And she knows that Harry got... That was one time Harry got better grade than Hermione, was the Defense Against the Dark Arts.
And she's never forgotten it.
Well, that's why. She's like, I feel like Hermione at this point still thinks that grades are just like an objective measure of like what you know. And she's like, well, if Harry gets better grades, then objectively he's more qualified to do this.
I'm not sure.
No further comment.
I think that she uses that partly as an excuse for why Harry, or like an explanation. But most of the other things she's saying is like, you have more experience with this,
Yeah. The practical experience, I think, is a huge factor for her.
Yeah. No, it's a great moment. And yeah, I feel like this sort of shows the best of Hermione in terms of her, like, initiative, her desire to learn, to affect change. Like, it's good stuff. I also have a moment from Order of the Phoenix later on in the book, and it's a small one, but I think it does sort of perfectly capture what I think of when I think of Hermione. So this is when Harry has the vision of Sirius in the Department of Mysteries. And so he's like, you know, guns blazing, ready to go save Sirius at the Ministry. He's like, all right, let's go. How are we getting to London? And Hermione's trying to talk him down, and Ginny and Luna are like, what's going on? So I'm just going to read the whole thing. Wait, said Hermione suddenly. Wait, Harry, they can help. Harry and Ron looked at her. Listen, she said urgently. Harry, we need to establish whether Sirius really has left headquarters. I've told you, I saw... Harry, I'm begging you, please, said Hermione desperately. Please, let's just check that Sirius isn't at home before we go charging off to London. If we find out he's not there, then I swear I won't try and stop you. I'll come, I'll do whatever it takes to try and save him. And so they go back and forth, and she keeps talking. We'll have to use Umbridge's fire and see if we can contact him, said Hermione, who looked positively terrified at the thought. We'll draw Umbridge away again, but we'll need lookouts, and that's where we can use Ginny and Luna. And so it's a small moment, but I think it captures her so well, because I feel like it's her two, like, overriding instincts, both on display. Like, you know, first of all, like, you know, like we said with the Sorcerer's Stone thing, to bring it back, she is Harry's ally through and through. She is ride or die for Harry because friendship and bravery, and that's what matters. But she's also, you know, she has her Ravenclaw side where she's like, research, verify, like, make sure of whatever they're doing. Like, she wants to come in prepared. She wants to do the research, do the homework, and then go save the world. And so, like, the way she sort of juggles those two competing instincts here, and she's desperately trying to talk Harry off a ledge, but she's also like, you know, not no questions asked, but she is absolutely ready to put her life in danger to go support Harry in whatever world-saving, people-saving thing he's up to. I feel like that's a huge testament to her, and it really shows who she is. And this also plays into her character arc, which we've talked about a lot, of learning to sort of think on the spot and formulate plans as she goes, which she's very, very bad at to begin with, and gets very, very good at by Deathly Hallows. And here it's sort of the intermediate stage where she's like, okay, so what do we have? What do we have to work with? We can use Umbridge's fire. We can have Ron head off Umbridge. We can use Ginny and Luna as lookouts. Like, she's using her resources, and she's coming up with ways to sort of make the most of it. So it's not bad for 30 seconds improv, though it's not spectacular because it does all blow up in her face.
Yes, it does.
But it's an improvement from, but we have no wood.
Exactly.
Also very true.
I think that's an amazing moment. I think that's a really perfect encapsulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, I unfortunately am going to have to leave. I have appointed Irvin as my surrogate Sophia for the rest of the episode. So, yeah, you guys will have to report back if he does a good job impersonating me.
I'll just preface everything I say with whether I'm talking as myself or as Sophia.
So, yeah. So this was very fun. It's been really great to hear everyone's moments. Can't wait to listen to the rest of this later.
Yeah, I'm glad we at least got the main trio in with you.
Yes, me too. Me too. All right, bye, you guys.
Bye.
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 Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Okay, so that's the main trio. Hermione was interesting because I feel like we picked up different sides of her. So that was fun. So let's move on to the slightly less main characters, the rest of the main 7, but not the Golden Trio. I think we can go with Ginny Weasley. And so, funny enough, whereas Hermione's moments mostly came, in the first 5 books, Ginny's start in Order of the Phoenix, so I wrapped up with Hermione, but I'm gonna start with Ginny. So this was a very easy choice for me. Sort of the minute I thought of Ginny, I was like, oh, I know. I think her defining moment is in Order of the Phoenix over Christmas, when Harry is angsting and she calls him out. Well, that was a bit stupid of you, said Ginny angrily, seeing as you don't know anyone but me who's been possessed by you-know-who, and I can tell you how it feels. Harry remained quite still as the impact of these words hit him. Then he turned on the spot to face her. I forgot, he said. Lucky you, said Ginny coolly. I think this is just such a perfect moment for Ginny. I think it shows her growth from, sort of Harry's fangirl to a peer of his, to someone unafraid to, call him out on his unafraid to speak her mind. How she's spunky. But I think it also shows how the fact that she's been through a lot. She's been through some seriously traumatic but she doesn't let that define her or bring her down. The fact that she, remains a badass, that she's worked through her issues, and she's like, you know what? Like, here I am, and I've been through it, but I'm not gonna let that one thing define me.
That's something they have in common with Harry, and that's why they're so great together.
Exactly.
Hinny forever.
Yeah. And Patrick, I believe you seconded my nomination here.
Yes, I did. Although I will say, completely unlike you, Ginny was the hardest person for me to come up with something for. And it really made me think about it because when I was reading these books, I loved Ginny, probably because I had a bit of a crush on her at the time. But like, Ginny is obviously bae, right? Ginny is top girl, right? But like, it was hard for me to think of a moment because what I ended up with coming up to was like this moment, because I think this moment is important because it's basically reminding us that she's been there the entire time. But in the first 4 books, Ginny is basically of no consequence. And it's a bummer, and it's fine that it happens. Obviously, we get introduced to a lot of new characters in Order of the Phoenix, and basically Ginny is a new character in Order of the Phoenix. She is there obviously a little bit before that, but her actual character starts to come out in this book. And so I agree with you, Irvin, that this is like a really important moment for her. And it's also the first, if you read just a few like sentences and paragraphs before this exact quote you just read, Ginny is standing there talking to, it's one of the first times in the books where we hear a 4th person talking. How do I explain this? Usually we see Ron and Hermione and Harry talking, and obviously other people talk throughout the books, but this, all of a sudden, it's almost jarring because it's like Ginny's there saying the things that Ron or Hermione would normally be saying to Harry. Yeah. And it's all of a sudden, it's like there's a 4th person here, and Ginny becomes a character. And from this moment on, I feel like Ginny's just awesome, right?
Yes.
But when you think about the series as a whole, I was left kind of bummed out when we were doing this because I was like, man, for the first 4 books, a majority of the series, maybe not a majority of the word count, but a majority of the series, Ginny just really isn't an important character at all. And so yeah, that's kind of what I came down on at the end of the day. But I definitely think that this is one of the most important moments for her in the entire series.
I think this is a real introductory moment that she is a fully fledged character on her own.
Yeah, I feel like this is the moment that she is no longer Ron's sister.
Yeah. And the way J.K. like kind of introduced her more when Harry first gets to Grimmauld Place. Well, I guess that is this part of the book, huh? Sorry, I was so dang far into the book. I was like, oh my gosh.
No, this is Christmas.
Christmas on the Ward. That's right.
This is Christmas on the Ward. Yeah.
The actual chapter I did with you guys last time I was on back in March, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I opened my Order of the Phoenix book for the first time since doing that episode, and I opened it to the page where my notes were, and it was the exact page where this quote was because I had my notes still in the book from when I did the episode with you guys. So I thought that was really fun because I thought of this moment first and then went to get my book and looked through it.
This is going to be the one chapter that you're just an expert on.
Yes,
be able
totally.
to recite it word by word.
Even though I can't do that. So
yet.
Yeah, I guess.
I agree with you, Patrick. Ginny's the one I struggled with the most. And it is interesting because she's also one of my favorite characters because she is just awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, but what is her moment? And I sort of, for fun, just threw out the bad bogey hex because it sort of is her signature thing, but we actually don't really see it ever. So, so I actually picked a moment we just mentioned in the Hermione section where Ginny helps Harry to speak to Sirius to confirm before they go to the Ministry. Because I think for me, that's the moment where she just really channels Fred and George and is like, well, you can do anything if you really want to do it. And that is a really cool moment for me.
So Sophia agreed with Oreo in picking this moment where she points out that when Ginny's making the plan to help Harry, that she notices that he's upset and she puts sort of, what would be good for him above her own desires. Like, this is the boy that she wants to date, but her first response is like, oh, if you're upset about Cho, I'm sure you can make things right with her. And then once he confides in her because he's comfortable with her, then she delivers the epic line. The thing about growing up with Fred and George is that you sort of start thinking anything's possible if you've got enough nerve. And so this accomplishes a lot for Ginny. It shows her emotional intelligence. It shows that Harry's comfortable with her. It shows that she cares about Harry's happiness rather than just sort of, getting him to be her boyfriend. And it shows her daring and her nerve and her willingness to engage in some creative problem solving to help the people she cares about.
And I think it also kind of helps the reader know how we're supposed to think of Ginny from now on, right? She invokes the twins, and so right away, all of a sudden, the reader can pause for a second and be like, oh yeah, I guess she is kind of like the twins. And then you can, in your head, fill out the backstory kind of like, oh, I guess, yeah, she probably did have a lot of fun with the twins growing up. And oh, I bet they made fun of Ron together. And oh, I bet they made fun of Percy together, And it's simple things like that. And even though Ginny's been there the whole time, like I was saying before, it's things like this that help us fill in the backstory ourselves. And then we get a good picture of what her character is. And then JK does a good job of sticking with that idea going forward with the series. It's really well done.
Yeah. And I actually noticed that a lot of the times when sort of it's the trio, Ginny and the twins, they kind of split up into two trios where like you have the golden trio and then Ginny is paired with the twins. So I feel like they are sort of like very connected in my mind as characters.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, she brings strong Weasley twin energy to the table.
Certainly. I think anytime that Ginny's sort of showing up in this strength or comedy or any sort of strong on the polar sort of an emotion is when Ginny's character really shows up in a match for Harry sort of way, which is a lens that I think a lot of us see. Oh, this is why Ginny's so good. And any of those moments that it's like, this is why Ginny's so good for Harry are some of the moments that come up for encapsulating her.
Yeah.
Speaking of a moment when Ginny may or may not be so good for Harry is when Ron, Harry walk in on Ginny and Dean snogging, as the Sixth Book puts it quite a lot. So this is when Ginny is going at Ron when he almost calls her a slut. Not quite. He doesn't really get there. Right, said Ginny, tossing her long red hair out of her face and glaring at Ron. Let's get this straight once and for all. It is none of your business who I go out with and what I do with them, Ron. Yeah, it is, said Ron, just as angrily. Do you think I want people saying my sister's a... Oh, what? Shouted Ginny, drawing her wand. Oh, what exactly? He doesn't mean anything, Ginny, said Harry automatically, though the monster was roaring its approval of Ron's words.
Boo.
Aurelia's favorite. Oh, yes, he does, she said, flaring up at Harry, just because he's never snogged anyone in his life, just because the best kiss he's ever had is from our Auntie Muriel. Shut your mouth, bellowed Ron, bypassing red and turning maroon. No, I will not, yelled Ginny beside herself. I've seen you with phlegm, hoping she'll kiss you on the cheek every time you see her. It's pathetic. If you went out and got a bit of snogging done yourself, you would mind so much that everyone else does it. Ron had pulled out his wand too. Harry stepped swiftly between them. I think that this perfectly encapsulates who Ginny is, which is a person who goes out and gets what she wants within the moral confines of being a Weasley, and also will defend herself from any sort of slander.
Mm-hmm. Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, this really reminds me how much I like Ginny and how much I dislike Ron.
Yeah. Precisely.
And after all that stuff, all the nice things and we were talking about Ron.
Yeah. Ugh. He does make it hard to like him.
So he features in the quote I have for Ginny as well, which is kind of connected to the moment that Sam picked in a way. So if the listeners are on fire whiskey now, this is the time, or pumpkin juice if you're of other persuasion. So the moment I picked, you would think it would be the beautiful Valentine's card that Ginny made for Harry in second year.
His eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad.
Indeed. A beautiful example of poetry, arts and crafts, spell work, all sorts of things. And yet, I have picked a different moment. It's Ginny spreading rumors about Harry's dragon tattoo in Half-Blood Prince.
Amazing.
You'd think people had better things to gossip about, said Ginny, as she sat on the common room floor, leaning against Harry's legs and reading the Daily Prophet. 3 Dementor attacks in a week, and all Romilda Vane does is ask me if it's true you've got a hippogriff tattooed across your chest. Ron and Hermione both roared with laughter. Harry ignored them. What did you tell her? I told her it's a Hungarian horntail, said Ginny, much more macho. Thanks, said Harry, grinning. And what did you tell her Ron's got? A pygmy puff, but I didn't say where. Ron scowled as Hermione rolled around laughing. Watch it, he said, pointing warningly at Harry and Ginny. Just because I've given my permission doesn't mean I can't withdraw it. Your permission? Scoffed Ginny. Since when did you give me permission to do anything? Anyway, you said yourself you'd rather it was Harry than Michael O'Dean. Yeah, I would, said Ron grudgingly. And just as long as you don't start snogging each other in public. You filthy hypocrite. What about you and Lavender thrashing around like a pair of eels all over the place? Demanded Ginny.
Oh, that's a visual.
Yeah. So what we have here, we have Ginny's got a great sense of humor, and she's not taking shit from anyone, including her brothers. See also the moment Sam picked.
Yeah.
And everything's possible when you've got enough nerve. And it's a joy to see her grow through the books, especially since she had such a rubbish start, like nearly dying in her first year of Hogwarts. I could have made her understandably anxious and timid, but like Harry, she didn't let bad start hold her back.
She did open the chamber secrets, which is pretty badass too.
That wasn't her fault. That was Tom Riddle using her.
Yeah, I don't think we're not giving her
possessed.
credit for that.
She opened the chamber. Yes, Ginny herself went down and went, you know who I hate? Mrs. Norris.
Yeah. Well,
She's
also,
so
Ginny
annoying.
did kill all those roosters.
She
We have that
didn't
going
do
for her.
that.
I think she was possessed at that point as
Yes. Come on
And also,
now.
we don't really know how she acted too much in Prisoner and Goblet, so she could have taken her 2 years to get over it, you know?
Yeah.
well. That's true.
In fact, she's possessed when she spreads the rumor about the Hungarian horntail. It's just Voldemort the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Plot twist.
Plot twist. I mean, if you think about it, Voldemort is the one that writes the Valentine's Day card written by was it a gnome or a goblin or something?
Dwarf.
I don't think he does that.
No, he does, because she refers to him as the Dark Lord. So Tom Riddle, she's, diaring to him the whole time. I need help. Do this for me. Help. And I'm sure Ginny doesn't refer to Voldemort as the Dark Lord. He refers to himself as the Dark Lord.
So is it Voldemort's bad poetry then?
Yes, it's absolutely Tom Riddle's, 16, 17-year-old self that has done this.
I think that's a crackpot theory.
See, I think Ginny wrote it and then like workshopped it with Tom.
Yeah, I agree.
And so he helped it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I definitely
but
think
Like,
that.
Voldemort doesn't really work with the rhyme scheme. Dark Lord works much better because then you can rhyme it with blackboard.
Yes.
So was that like an early version of like Grammarly or ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's just
Ginny
Voldemort
put her
diary.
version in, and then it's like, here's the suggestions.
I want it banned
I
then,
think-
I want it banned now.
I think ChatGPT is remarkably similar to the Voldemort in the diary.
Don't trust
they're
the
both
thing where you
evil,
can't
they-
see its brain.
Exactly.
Very good advice.
But yeah, I think we're all sort of on the same page with Ginny. We're just like, she's a badass, she's spunky, she doesn't take shit, and we love that for her, and we love that for Harry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about brainless,
Wow. Wow. Shots fired.
No, I think it's accurate.
I agree.
His brain isn't that long, it's his bottom.
I think listeners can guess who the next person. we're
Ernie
talking about is.
McMillan.
Yeah,
obviously.
dang it, you beat me by 2 seconds, Irvin. I was about to say Ernie McMillan.
Not Justin Finch Fletchley, no.
No.
Stan Shunpike.
No, when you're talking about Longbottoms, only Ernie Mac comes to mind.
Who's this Neville guy?
So yes, let's talk about the wonderful Neville Longbottom. And here, Sophia's going to start us off with Sorcerer's Stone. The defining moment she picked, which I'll admit was not on my radar at all, is when Draco calls Neville brainless, and Neville says with a shaking voice, "I'm worth 12 of you, Malfoy." And Sophia comments that it's so sweet how personally he takes Harry's comment.
Yeah.
And even though he, doesn't believe it yet, he's gonna fight, until he does believe it. And throughout the series, he really admires Harry and, takes Harry's words to heart. Which we even see in Deathly Hallows, where he's like, I stood up for people the way you used to because I noticed how it gave people hope. Neville uses Harry as an inspiration for how to lean into his Gryffindor side. He's terrified, but he's still a fighter.
And he really does fight, because people forget that all the time in the first book. Him and Ron fist fight Draco and Crabbe and Goyle in the stands at the Quidditch match.
Yeah.
So...
No, I definitely think that if you want to focus on Neville's arc, as learning from Harry to sort of, come into his own, then I think this is just perfect.
Yeah, if you want to focus on that at being his arc.
Yeah.
Gosh, Sophia sounds a lot like Irvin today.
It's uncanny. We've just been spending too much time together.
So the moment I picked was Neville trying to stop the trio from leaving Gryffindor Tower at night in Philosopher's Stone. "You can't go out," said Neville. "You'll be caught again. Gryffindor will be in even more trouble. You don't understand," said Harry. "This is important." But Neville was clearly steeling himself to do something desperate. "I won't let you do it," he said, hurrying to stand in front of the portrait hole. I'll fight you." "Neville," Ron exploded, "get away from that hole and don't be an idiot." "Don't you call me an idiot," said Neville. "I don't think you should be breaking any more rules. And you were the one who told me to stand up to people." "Go on then, try and hit me," said Neville, raising his fists. "I'm ready."
Aww.
So, firstly, I'd like to say that while I admire Harry-type Gryffindor, because he's my boy, and he's the best, personally, as a Gryffindor, I'm more of a Neville type, so I really need to be pushed, but, don't push me too far. So this scene in the first book comes across as quite comical because it's a soft, forgetful little boy standing up to his own classmates for something that really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter that much. But we see the seed from which 7th-year Neville grows here and who he is at his core and why he is placed in Gryffindor, even though he'd probably be much more content if the hat placed him in Hufflepuff or something.
Because then you get to hang out with Helga all the time.
Yeah,
He does get 10 points for this from Dumbledore.
he does.
And it wins the cup, lest ye forget.
Yeah.
And I think this is what Dumbledore sees as well, and that's why he gives Neville the points that you've just mentioned. It's not just to push the points total in favor of Gryffindor. It gives Neville, probably for the first time in his life, some validation and a sense of really belonging as himself and not as his heroic parents' barely magical son. And I think something really clicks for him then at the end of the first book. So that's why I picked that moment.
This is a perfect moment. And although, earlier on I was calling people cheaters for choosing the first book, I really like this moment. I almost put this one myself. And I think mainly because I too feel much more like a Neville Gryffindor than a Harry or Ron Gryffindor. And this, just the ability to say, no, this isn't right to the people that matter most to you and risk that sort of friendship is such a beautiful moment.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going by the, what moment first comes to mind, it's always going to be this one. I wouldn't have been surprised if, 4 of us had picked it, just because it is so iconic. I would say it's Neville's most iconic moment, whether or not it's his most defining. Because, it perfectly captures, the fact that he knows what's right, and he will fight for it in his own way as best he can.
Even if he knows he's going to lose.
Right. Yeah, same as Sophia's moment with Draco. I think he knows he's not a match for the trio, but he'll fight the good fight.
It's Neville acting in his most Hermione-ish way. It's just too bad there was a Hermione there to petrify him and stop him. So the moment I picked is where we come to this sort of bigger conversation where I was talking earlier about triumphant moments defining a character, because to me, Neville throughout the whole series is portrayed as this klutzy, oafish character, and so that, to me, is his defining characteristic. It's really great that he grows into someone that cuts the head off the snake. But, we really don't see much of that growth. We were just saying that the moment where Neville stands up to them in the first book is a defining moment of his, and that's true, but we don't really see many great moments with Neville. And I feel like Neville is one of the characters that in the fandom people have really run with and created a lot of headcanon around that doesn't necessarily exist in the books. And so to me, the moment I actually chose is a moment from the movies, where in a Chamber of Secrets movie where Neville's hanging from the chandelier, or the skeleton, I think the bones, in the the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, and he goes, "Why is it always me?" Because to me, that is Neville, at least for the first 6 books or however long. I mean, again, there are moments, when he learns how to dance and stuff and dances with Ginny all night long at the ball, things like that. But a majority of the time, he is portrayed as this this oafish character, and so that's his character to me.
So to push back against something you don't think is in the books, you have a movie moment. I like it.
Yes, that's my logic, Irvin. Thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of the cool Neville stuff kind of happens off page in Deathly Hallows, which we unfortunately don't get to see because
totally.
we are following Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and they're not at Hogwarts.
Yeah,
so.
I would argue we've internalized Neville's badass nature because it was so well telegraphed to us. Yes, we don't see a lot of him being a badass, but it's so clearly his arc that was building, and we saw sort of the beginnings of the arc, and we see its ultimate culmination. So I think that's why sort of the fandom has been so comfortable just sort of filling in the gap and being yes, all of this is completely consistent and makes perfect sense, so we're running with it.
Yeah, and I definitely want to be clear. I'm not saying that I think that there's anything really too wrong with that. I do have a huge problem with headcanon or fanon or whatever you want to call it, but this is where we were going, where I was talking about earlier with how we choose to approach the definition of character defining. I think a majority of Neville's character is the klutzy sort of character. And so that's why I chose this moment.
So the moment I chose is in Order of the Phoenix. So we're jumping forward a little bit here from the second movie. I think it is, for me, this is the, if we look at the moment we already talked about in sort of early moments with Neville, you know, standing up against his friends, and sort of very early moments where he actually stands up. This is, for me, the moment that is then the turning point that then leads us to Deathly Hallows. Mm-hmm. So this is after the Azkaban breakouts happened, and we see Neville trying incredibly hard at the DA because he just wants to be ready to fight. He wants to be able to defend himself. He wants to stand up for the people that he wants to protect. So this is I think the moment that then makes sense when we in Deathly Hallows, you know, as Irvin just said, not literally see it, but we get it telegraphed that he is this leader of the rebellion at Hogwarts while Harry, Ron, and Hermione are off to hunt Horcruxes. And I think in like sort of sports terms, I see Neville as like the glue guy. He knows he's not Harry, he's not the hero, but he wants to fight the fight, and he's gonna do what he can do, what he can bring to this, and what he thinks is right. So he's gonna do the hard work behind the scenes that is absolutely necessary, because without him it won't work. But he might not get the same amount of glory as Harry, Ron, and Hermione will. Yeah.
No, I love the moment in Order of the Phoenix when he's like hauling ass in the DA, because it like he does it in his like quiet Neville way, right? Like he's not, you know, like shouting about how we're gonna take down all the Death Eaters and rah. He's just gonna like work hard to fight the good fight and do what he can. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of moments for where Neville's great in Order of the Phoenix. One of the other moments I thought about picking if I was going to go the more like Neville becomes a badass would have been to try to find a way to incorporate when Harry learns about Neville's parents, because I think once Neville realizes that Harry knows that, and maybe because I think it's in Order of the Phoenix where everybody finds out about that, right?
Everybody in Order of the Phoenix, Harry finds out in Goblet of Fire. In Goblet of Fire,
right. So after everybody finds out about that, I feel like that gives Neville a bit more of like a boost to like, I feel like that was something that was kind of weighing on him, and that frees him maybe of like a burden he didn't need to have. But I couldn't think of a way to incorporate that.
Well, we are going to stay on the Order of the Phoenix beat, and listeners, you may want to sit down and, you know, not, you know, be drinking any drinks right now, because prepare yourselves. Sam and I agreed and picked the same moment.
Indeed.
Do you want to read it together in that case?
Oh my god, can we do a full audio play right now?
Ooh, dramatic reading.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be Neville. Okay. You can be narrator, and then we're gonna need someone as Bellatrix and someone as Harry. Patrick, will you be Harry?
Sure.
Oreo, would you like to be Bellatrix?
Sure.
Okay.
Am I the narrator?
No, Sam's the narrator.
Sam's the narrator. Okay.
Sorry, we might not have a role for you, Ev.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. I just didn't want to.
Oh wait. No, Ev, yes. You are going to be the Death Eater.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So to set the scene, this is the Department of Mysteries, the battle at the Department of Mysteries, where you know, almost all of Harry and Neville's friends are down for the count. Hermione's gotten Dolokhof's super effective magical purple flames. Ron was taken out by the brains. Luna was knocked out. Ginny had the broken ankle. So Harry thinks he's alone because Neville has had his nose broken. He has had his wand broken. Neville just, you know, you'd think Neville is down for the count, and yet our boy Neville Longbottom never says die. And so Harry's facing down all of the Death Eaters who are leering at him that he's alone and he's got nothing else going for him. Cue the scene. He's not alone!
Shouted a voice from above them.
He's still got me!
Harry's heart sank. Neville was scrambling down the stone benches toward them, Hermione's wand held fast in his trembling hand.
Neville, no! Go back to Ron!
Stupefy!
Neville shouted again, pointing his wand at each Death Eater in turn.
Stupefy! Stuba!
One of the largest Death Eaters seized Neville from behind, pinioning his arms to his side. He struggled and kicked. Several of the Death Eaters laughed.
Longbottom.
Repeated Bellatrix, and a truly evil smile lit her gaunt face.
Why, I've had the pleasure of meeting your parents, boy.
I know you have!
Roared Neville, and he fought so hard against his captor's encircling grip that the Death Eater shouted,
Someone stun him!
No, no, no.
said Bellatrix. He looked transported, alive with excitement as she glanced at Harry, then back to Neville.
No, let's see how Longbottom lasts before he cracks like his parents. Unless Potter wants to give us the prophecy.
Don't give it to them!
Roared Neville, who seemed beside himself, kicking and writhing as Bellatrix drew nearer to him and his captor, her wand raised.
Don't give it to them, Harry! And scene. Guys, those new audio plays that Scholastic's making, they got nothing on us.
Nothing.
They should have asked us.
Yes.
They really should have. Come to the Three Broomsticks for all your audiobook needs. So, yes, this moment is just so perfectly Neville. And, you know, it's not a huge triumph by any means. It's not him at his, you know, most badass. This shows that Neville is pretty hapless. You know, his nose is broken. He can't even cast spells right now because he can't pronounce them. So, like, you know, to Patrick's point, like, yeah, this is Neville, where he, you know, is not terribly effective throughout the series, but he shows up. Like, he shows up, he's not gonna quit, he won't abandon his friend, like, he's just gonna do what he can, and he's gonna try his damn hardest, regardless of the outcome of his actions.
Great point.
I think that the reason why I have the stupefy moment, and it was the first thing that came up to me about Neville, is because it's that perfect connection of clumsy, out of his depth, not really understanding exactly what's going on Neville, with the bravery, the hard work, the willingness to be courageous, the willingness to fight against the bad. And of course, it leads us, I think it is this clinch point of the Neville that we've had and the Neville that we are going to get in Deathly Hallows. This is where that transition occurs to me, and it completely exemplifies, it doesn't matter how down on the count Neville is, he is always going to keep trying, even when he's got a wand that is used to Hermione and clearly is judging Neville as hard as any of us have ever judged Neville, and will simply be like, I don't care how dire the moment is, I will not work for you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I did think about that Deathly Hallows moment, but yeah, like, this is what came up, like you said, because it combines the hapless and the courageous. And we also see how much he trusts Harry and looks up to him, because the fact that he tells Harry not to give up the prophecy, which, like, for the record, Neville has no idea what the hell this prophecy doohickey is. Like, you know, he doesn't know if it's important or not, but, like, when Bellatrix Lestrange is leering at him about to cast Crucio, like, and he's just like, don't give them the prophecy. Like, Neville is such a bamf in this moment.
Yes.
Yeah, for real.
Yes.
Just, oh, I'm so proud of our boy.
Me too.
Yep.
Okay, and I guess we can move on from Neville to his one true love, Luna Lovegood.
For real.
So, ironically, I struggled the most with Luna, because she's my favorite character. And because there are so many incredible moments where I was like, but I love this moment, and I love that moment. And so I just kept, like, going through them and discarding them. And so what I finally settled on, which is kind of cheating, but here we are, is one of her earliest scenes in Order of the Phoenix. So, to set the scene, it is day 2 of classes in Order of the Phoenix. She's known Harry Potter for all of, like, 48 hours at this point. Luna Lovegood emerged, trailing behind the rest of the class, a smudge of earth on her nose and her hair tied in a knot at the top of her head. When she saw Harry, her prominent eyes seemed to bulge excitedly, and she made a beeline straight for him. Many of his classmates turned curiously to watch. Luna took a great breath and then said without so much as a preliminary hello, "I believe he who must not be named is back, and I believe you fought him and escaped from him." Right, said Harry awkwardly. Luna was wearing what looked like a pair of orange radishes for earrings, a fact that both Parvati and Lavender seemed to have noticed, as they were both giggling and pointing at her earlobes. "You can laugh," Luna said, her voice rising, apparently under the impression that Parvati and Lavender were laughing at what she had said rather than what she was wearing. "But people used to believe there were no such things as the blibbering humdinger or the crumplehorn snorkack."
That is so confusing for Harry.
People still don't believe in those, Luna, I gotta tell you.
I've never read Luna to be so theatrical. Thank you, everyone, for that.
You know, I think just about every character is in my reading.
I don't doubt that.
But I love this. Like, you know, it makes sense why it conveys who she is so perfectly because, you know, at this point, Joe is still introducing her to us. But, like, you know, it shows how she stands up for her beliefs. And it also shows that she is completely convinced of impossible things being true. So it sort of shows those two things about her. And it shows what I think is the most important thing about Luna, which is how completely unbothered she is by what people think of her. Like, she doesn't care about making a spectacle of herself. She doesn't care, you know, about the derision she gets. Like, she will just say what she believes and, you know, show courage when it's called for. And yeah, I love her so much, you guys.
Yeah. I agree. And the moment I picked is also from Order of the Phoenix and kind of is along the same kind of lines you're thinking, but in a much more surface level. I actually cheated with my moment because I didn't even pick a specific moment. I just like the idea that she brings up Nargles so much throughout the book. And I think multiple books too, if I'm remembering correctly.
She only brings them up once.
No. Isn't it?
Yeah.
No. Am I getting it mixed up with the movie then? Is there something else she brings up a whole bunch? Is it the crumplehorn snorkack horn or whatever she brings up?
Rackspurts as well.
Maybe Rackspurts is what I'm thinking of. It doesn't matter in context of this. The fact that she is bringing up these things, it really shows that she looks at the world in a different way. And I think that's her defining characteristic, is that whether she's, you know, Luna's one of these other interesting characters that is brought in later in the series. And I think that the thing that makes her special when she's talking to Harry or when she's interacting with anybody is the fact that she looks at the world in this different way. And it might not be that she's looking at it in a way that makes sense to other people, but usually the way she's looking at the world is the way that it needs to be looked at in that moment. If you guys know what I mean, maybe? Yeah. Like, It's a really, and I mean this in a good way, like she's looking at the world in a different way, and she might not be right with what she's saying, but she's definitely, I don't know, it's hard for me to explain, but I think that's the defining part of her character, is the way that she looks at the world differently from everybody else, and that's in the good and bad ways.
Mm-hmm. In fairness to you, Patrick, she mentions it once, Harry references it not that long after, and then in Deathly Hallows, he speculates. He makes a joke that she's probably teaching the inmates
Nargles.
about Nargles. It is a couple more times.
Yeah, this is my lack of reading the books over the last 15 years coming into play. But I think my point still, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the way she looks at the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
It's actually interesting, but we decided to highlight different parts of Luna. Not everyone focused on, you know, her oddity and her lack of being bothered about it. Mm-hmm. So Sam, you and Sophia picked the same moment, so I will once again offer to abdicate my Sophia duties if you want to take this one.
I got you.
Well, it's actually me, it's not Sophia. We just have very similar colors.
Sorry, yeah, that's on me. That's my bad.
Go for it, Ev. It's all you.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. We agreed on something today, which is great. So we're still in Order of the Phoenix. In a moment which isn't actually terribly far away from the one I picked for Harry. So it's helping Harry to come to terms with Sirius's death. They looked at each other. Luna was smiling slightly. Harry did not know what to say or to think. Luna believed so many extraordinary things. Yet he had been sure he had heard voices behind the veil too. "Are you sure you don't want me to help you look for your stuff?" he said. "Oh no," said Luna. "No, I think I'll just go down and have some pudding and wait for it all to turn up. It always does in the end. Well, have a nice holiday, Harry." Yeah, you too." She walked away from him, and as he watched her go, he found that the terrible weight in his stomach seemed to have lessened slightly. And this scene is Luna for me, so it has everything, has her signature matter-of-factness, carrying on with her head held high while, let's face it, she's clearly being bullied by her own classmates, which my headcanon is for her neurodivergence, but you can read it in all sorts of ways. And she has this ability to validate Harry's feelings and also to show that one can still be light and, things will turn up in the end. And there's pudding, so Lupin would approve of that.
Yeah, I think the reason why I've chosen this moment is because I think it also shows how much of a Ravenclaw Luna is. Her perspective is incredibly good. Her ability to cut through sort of Harry's angst, his struggles, and speak directly to his heart is what makes Luna so wonderful and lovely and warm, but also very matter-of-fact. It's a very different approach than the way that Hermione takes from matter-of-fact. And Luna's warmth really in here is helping Harry get through this grief, and the audience, frankly. And so this encapsulates her because she's just so ready to dive into any emotional conversation and not hide herself. She's not saying how sorry she is. She's not, sort of dancing around it in a way that Ron might, or being pragmatic about it in the way that Hermione might. She's being pragmatic, but she's being like what we call in education, like a warm demander. She is calling Harry into this, difficult conversation, but she's being super warm about it, and it's so helpful.
But do you think she's doing that on purpose, though?
I do.
You do?
I trust Luna in this particular thing, yeah.
I think she can't help it. I think that's just how she does it.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. I think she's like this with everybody, too. I think Harry's really receptive of it, which is nice, but I don't think she has any sort of like, oh, I should go find Harry and talk to him to make him feel better. I think this is just how she's interacting with him. I don't think she's not thinking deeply about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I'll agree that I don't think she's like planning out how to talk to him or anything. I just think that sort of her way was the perfect way that Harry needed.
Right. But I don't think that was her motivation.
I don't know that I would think of it, that it's her motivation, but I don't think that she thinks in the same terms that you and I do in terms of planning out. I do think that she is purposeful in her help for Harry, but I don't know that it's coming in such it's hard to say neurotypical or neurodivergent because I don't know who on the podcast is neurodivergent or not. Clearly Luna is.
Me.
But me as well. But I think that there's that understanding that this is a moment in which she can help, that she is purposefully engaging in. And I don't know that it's as strategic as you're thinking, Patrick, but I think that it's there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just always think of it as Luna. I'm glad Luna was there at that exact moment because that's what Harry needed to hear. But it was kind of a happenstance that they happened to run into each other.
I don't think she's trying to draw him out. I think she is sensing the need to make this connection. So she tells him the story about her mother. and they and Harry can connect to that in a way that, so she can reach him in a way that Dumbledore couldn't, or maybe Ron and Hermione couldn't either.
That happens in this conversation before this?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm just misremembering what all was in this scene. That's just my bad.
Yeah, so it's shortly before.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's interesting that for both Ginny and Luna, multiple people on the podcast picked the moments where they connect with Harry in Order of the Phoenix in a way that Ron and Hermione really couldn't. I think that's sort of an understated part of Order of the Phoenix, and one of the things that works really well about it. God, look at me singing Book 5's praises here.
Look at it, it's great.
You should.
It's great.
Always. It's the best.
But the fact that after the trauma that Harry's been through, after Voldemort's resurrection kind of broke him a little, he finally gets to the point where Ron and Hermione, as incredible as they are, as ride or die as they are, aren't enough, aren't equipped to work through all of his with him. And so the fact that he does sort of expand his circle somewhat, and that Ginny offers him the brash matter-of-factness that he needs when Ron's intimidated, the fact that Luna can offer him the faith and comfort that Hermione's too rational to, I think it's such a beautiful thing, and I think it is a very important part of their characters, which is why we picked these moments of showing how sort of they can offer Harry a connection and a way to relate that the others can't.
Yep, 100%.
Just to add one more thing to this moment, which frankly I might be swayed that this is the perfect Luna moment. I think it shows her faith, that everything will be all right, that it always does in the end, that it always turns up in the end. I think her sort of unflappable optimism is such a big part of her character for me. And, ironically, sometimes it's the people who have the least reason to be optimistic who have that unflappable faith that it will all turn out okay.
Yeah.
So her life has not been great. Her mother died. She's bullied. She really didn't seem to have many friends up until this point. And yet she's always convinced that it'll all be okay. And we even see that in Deathly Hallows, when, she's at Malfoy Manor and, her first thing's oh, I didn't want you to be captured. But we never see her give up or panic or give over to despair. And I think that's a really important part of her character.
Yep.
Right. So the moment I picked specifically is in Half-Blood Prince. But I think for me, thinking of Luna, this is true for every scene with her, every moment with her. I think that what stands out to me with Luna is that she is unashamedly, and without hiding or anything, she's just herself in every occasion, in every moment. She doesn't pretend to be someone she isn't. She's just 100% herself. She's a pretty unique thing anyway, but I think particularly in a school setting where I think everyone's desperately trying to not stand out and fit in. So the moment I picked specifically where I think this comes out is when she says about the DA in Half-Blood Prince, I enjoyed the meetings too. It was like having friends.
Aww.
What a brutal line.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot what we've already covered. She just says it as it is.
Yeah.
She's not gonna pull the punches. This is what it felt like for her. She's just herself.
Yeah. Yeah, her knack for uncomfortable truths, I think, isn't the first thing I think of when it comes to Luna, but I think it definitely is a valuable part of her character, is that she's just gonna say the things other people won't. Like the fact that Ron's unkind.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Quite funny, but he can be quite unkind.
He needed to hear that.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm now stepping into my role as Sophia, and proof that we really do start to think alike. It's actually a moment that I I, as Irvin just referenced, Luna coming to Harry's aid to fight the Dementors. And this is, I think, my favorite moment in Deathly Hallows, like me as Irvin, because it always gets me misty-eyed. "That's right," said Luna encouragingly, as if they were back in the room of requirement and this was simply spell practice for the DA. "That's right, Harry. Come on, think of something happy." "Something happy?" he said, his voice cracked. "We're all still here," she whispered. "We're still fighting. Come on now." And I'm in my feelings now. But this is such a beautiful moment for Luna. She knows how to find, the positive and the beautiful, even in the horrific moments. And she's so good at not letting fear take over, which lets her be that calming presence for Harry when he needs it most.
I think that's just perfect for Luna. I'm speechless, honestly.
Yeah,
It's such a beautiful quote.
It really is a wonderful moment.
We should have ended on Luna.
Yeah, we really should have.
We're still here. We're still fighting.
I actually don't remember that. Is that in Deathly Hallows that she says that?
Yes, Battle of Hogwarts.
Yeah, I should read that book again. I've only read that one twice.
Yeah, no, Luna would have been a much more wholesome note to end on reflection.
Yeah.
Well, next time we do this.
But from the point of view of advertising for your book, Irvin, it might be better to end on Draco Malfoy after all.
I mean, my thought was that Draco is sort of like the outsider of these six, so we sort of do him last.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yes, I think having wrapped up Luna, we turn to the last of the main seven, the only one who's antagonistic to Harry, one Draco Malfoy.
So my moment is the first chronologically here because it's like the first moment we meet Draco in the first book. And I think that much like listener, you can tell the way I approached this assignment the entire episode, I was a much more surface value with all of my thinking. And I'm so glad that I get to be here with all these very deep thinking, educated people to really outshine me and outclass me in this assignment. But I chose when Harry first meets Draco, the thing that he brags about in their very first conversation is that he's in Slytherin, and Slytherins suck. And so he's just basically saying, hey, my whole family is in the worst group of people, and I want to be in that group of really bad people too. And then that basically sums up Draco Malfoy to me.
Is that when all our Slytherin listeners drop us?
See, we don't need to get into this, or Aurelia will never have enough time. But I just hate. No, you know what? We're not even going to get into it. I think in the books, the Slytherins are bad guys. It doesn't need to extend beyond the books, as far as I'm concerned. And whatever. If you're a Slytherin, you deal with the fact that you answered some dumb questions on a website wrong.
That's a mic drop.
Sure.
I had more things I was going to say, but you know what? I'd rather not. So, and I'll talk. Yeah. I'll interrupt you guys if I feel the need to.
Well, next up is Sophia. And actually, with Draco, it's fun because each of us picked a different book.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like this. So yeah, we're gonna get the entire arc of Draco's character the way one might if one picked up a certain book called Malfoy by Irvin Cateman, available where books are sold.
Really?
Indeed.
Who's that guy again?
Well, I don't know. He sure has a lot to say, though.
If you guys haven't seen our old social media manager and pretty consistent guest, Jeff, sent me on Facebook these pictures that he had seen in one of his Facebook Harry Potter groups, and I sent them to our Slack chat. It is, a mega fan of Tom Felton's going to do some sort of line meet and greet thing in New York as he's going to play Draco again at Cursed Child, and got Tom Felton's attention and had him sign this green book. And as I looked closer, I went, oh my gosh, that's Irvin's book. So, Tom Felton has seen the cover and back, sort of summary. There's a picture of him reading the back summary and signed the initial page that says Irvin Capeman on it. So very cool stuff.
That is so awesome. How does that make you feel, Irvin?
It's insane. So I woke up to a deluge of owls, as it were, because it was Saturday. So I wake up at noon or something, and there's 10 messages from people in Slack, in WhatsApp, in text, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you see this?" And I was like, "Oh my God." It's pretty damn surreal, not gonna lie, but Tom Felton has at least seen and signed my book.
That's so awesome.
So if you want to, be in good company like Tom Felton's, you should also go out and see my book and, read it. And, if you want to be just like him, you can sign the title page yourself. I won't be mad.
I also thought it was a nice touch that he signed it as himself and as Draco Malfoy, which means that at some point he spent time making up a signature for Draco Malfoy, and I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Which I really wish I had, because when I signed the book, I also signed it from myself and from Draco. So I got a stamp of Draco's signature made from Quidditch Through the Ages. Because one of the editions of Quidditch Through the Ages has the signatures of the students who've checked it out. So I took that, photoshopped everything else out, got a stamp of it. So yes, we signed the books from Irvin and from Draco. But I was frankly, I would so much rather take Tom Felton's Draco signature.
That's so awesome, Irvin. Congratulations.
Yeah, for real.
Thank you.
I do have with me your first book here. I managed to find it at a store the other day, and I was very excited. It just feels good in your hand. I can't get the stupid sticker off the front. I need some goo on. But I can't wait to get the new one, too.
Yay. Thank you, guys. So yes, Draco, right. Oh, Draco, bookstores, talk of which. So Sophia's signature moment is Draco in Flourish and Blots with Lucius. Flourish and Blots, I wonder if she meant Borgin and Burke's, because that's where we see a lot more of Draco with Lucius. But Sophia writes that it's one of the only times we see what's going on underneath the surface with Draco, and it helps explain his actions throughout the series. His antagonism toward Harry is clearly a lot of jealousy mixed with some insecurity. Honestly, no arguments here, because, getting to see Draco when he's not sort of putting on an act for his peers and for the trio, but when he's just a whiny brat complaining to his father, I feel yes, that is a defining moment and does tell us a lot about him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think one of the moments that shows us a lot about who Draco is, because I think so much of us are what an incredible redemption arc, and that is based off of headcanon, that is based off of what you want to see in the character, very little textually. Draco at the end apparates with his parents and nods at Harry in the movie, at least, if not in the epilogue at the very end. And that's it. And then if you taste Cursed Child, then that's a separate matter.
Boo.
But this podcast officially hates that play.
We do.
So I think that Draco is a spoiled brat who knows nothing and is just a chum, which is why I've decided to use him, his moment of utilizing his arm injury, his fake arm injury in Prisoner of Azkaban, as a way to get the Slytherins matched moves so they don't have to play in rainy, thunderous weather, making the Hufflepuffs play against the Gryffindor in Prisoner of Azkaban. Whereas, Cedric then wins and Dumbledore has to fight some Dementors. So, to give you a little bit of context from the book, then, at their final training session before Saturday's match, Oliver Wood gave his team some unwelcome news. "We're not playing Slytherin," he told them, looking very angry. "Flint's just been to see me. We're playing Hufflepuff instead." "Why?" chorused the rest of the team. "Flint's excuse is that their seeker's arm's still injured," said Wood, grinding his teeth furiously. "But it's obvious why they're doing it. Don't want to play in this weather. Think it'll damage their chances." There had been strong winds and heavy rain all day, and as Wood spoke, they heard a distant rumble of thunder. "There's nothing wrong with Malfoy's arm," said Harry furiously. "He's faking it." One of my favorite bits is, I didn't do this whole quote, but all the way at the end, the Fred and George make a joke and Wood gets really mad at them, accusing them of not taking Hufflepuff seriously. And they're like, "We are taking them seriously. Seriously." It's a great little line there.
Yeah.
There you have it. That's my moment.
Yep.
I mean, fair enough. It's not a very deep moment for Draco.
No.
But since so much of Draco is him being a little fair enough. No notes. And also, it plays into what I think is an important part of Draco's character, which is his penchant for performance and theatricality. This came up a lot at my book launch, but basically, I think Draco is a theater kid who's just preoccupied with competing against Harry. And this is sort of one of the first moments we see where his, flair for drama comes into play.
I think his best dramatic moment is when he's not himself.
I wondered if someone would pick this, and I'm glad you
It's
did.
an excellent moment.
I'm sure everyone can picture by now which moment I'm talking about. So we are in Goblet of Fire, for those who need more clues. And it honestly, because first of all, why is Draco even in this list of 7 characters? He's so not important in my view.
Thank you.
I was going to ask that earlier. Like, surely these aren't the 7 main characters, but that's why I'm glad Irvin brought up that it was JK's like of Harry's year thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But okay, he's in this list. So I was like, what is Draco to me? And I think the first thing that came to mind is that he's a coward. Because I don't like. I mean, he's obviously not a Gryffindor anyway, but he's just not a good person. And I see sort of the points where there's a lot of his upbringing and a lot of things were like probably not great for him from the word go, but also he doesn't really fight it anyway. So at this moment I picked because he's trying to desperately be in control, but also very cowardly because he attacks someone from behind, and is then very quickly not in control anymore because Moody transfigures him into a ferret, for those who've still not guessed the moment. And I think this is also like a parallel to how then, in Half-Blood Prince, when he's forced to be a Death Eater and he has to do the bidding for Voldemort, there's a lot of like things that are out of his control in his life. But also I just don't like Draco.
Is this a student? Technically, it's a ferret.
Draco Malfoy, the amazing bouncing ferret.
So the only time Draco's his most Draco-y is when he's in another boy's pants.
Yes.
Yep.
Depending on the fanfics you read, 100% absolutely. And for more, listen to our Draco Malfoy shipping episode.
Or don't.
Oh yeah, that one is a wild ride. And just to bring everybody down again, because apparently that's what I'm doing this episode, my Draco moment is him crying in the bathroom in Half-Blood Prince. Never was he so close with Moaning Myrtle as he was then. Draco Malfoy was standing with his back to the door, his hands clutching either side of the sink, his white blonde head bowed. "No one can help me," said Malfoy. His whole body was shaking. "I can't do it. I can't. It won't work. And unless I do it soon, he says he'll kill me." And Harry realized with a shock so huge it seemed to root him to the spot that Malfoy was crying, actually crying, tears streaming down his pale face into the grimy basin. Malfoy gasped and gulped, and then, with a great shudder, looked up into the cracked mirror and saw Harry staring at him over his shoulder. So, Draco is a spoiled rich boy. He's a bully, but he's not a killer. He's a product of his upbringing, thanks Lucius, and being sorted into Slytherin didn't do him any favors. But he's not so rotten at the core that he can kill in cold blood, even if the alternative is for him and his family to die as well. So this moment just sums this all up for him. He talks the Death Eater talk, but he can't walk the walk, which you could argue is a good thing for his so-called redemption arc, if there is any.
Yeah.
Yes. It's interesting that you chose this because I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. I feel like this is it's a fairly unusual side of Draco that we get to see here, which is why I wouldn't think of it as a defining moment.
I think it's his best moment.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was I being nice to Draco? What's happening to me?
Yeah.
I'm getting soft.
But yeah, I feel like so much more of Draco's character is being a little than being a victim that, yeah, I'm actually really intrigued that that's where your mind went in defining him.
Well, you can argue that part of the reason he is a little is that he's kind of a victim of his circumstances. But as he grows up, more and more of the responsibility is going to be also on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure he's not the first person who came to Hogwarts from a family. Sirius comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
So Hogwarts could have been the place where he met all sorts of different people and experientially found out that, oh, actually, the world is a little different than what I thought it is. But, he still toed Lucius's line, and we see where that got him, really.
Yep.
Remember, the Sorting Hat barely touched his head before he realized he belonged in Slytherin, though. So,
Yeah, but Sorting Hat also knew where to put all the Weasleys together, so I think sometimes it just gets tired.
That's true. It could
go, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Don't even need to bother looking into this kid's brain. Yeah, that's true. Can't see past all the greasy blonde hair anyway.
All right. Well, that brings us to Deathly Hallows and my signature moment for Draco. And I gotta say, this was very easy for me to pick out, having, quite literally written the book on the subject. But it's a very small exchange in the Battle of Hogwarts that I think just completely perfectly encapsulates him. So, the trio under the invisibility cloak is moving through the melee of the Battle of Hogwarts. This is after the whole Room of Requirement Fiendfire debacle. And we see, or rather we hear, Draco saying, "I'm Draco Malfoy! I'm Draco! I'm on your side!" Draco was on the upper landing pleading with another masked Death Eater. And I was like, this is it. This is him. This is Draco Malfoy in a very concise nutshell. I think it so perfectly encapsulates everything I want to convey about him, really. His self-preservation instinct, first and foremost.
Yeah.
There's a question of, allegiances and which side he's on, and it's no. He's on the side that lets him emerge unscathed, that lets him survive this war in one piece. He will say whatever he needs, he will be whoever he needs to be, whatever it is, to get himself to safety.
His father would be so proud.
His father would be so proud. I think that Draco's slipperiness, for lack of a better word, is sort of what I think of as his defining characteristic. And also, on a smaller note, but also significant, is his, utter conviction that his name will get him places. In fact, he's like, "I'm Draco Malfoy, I'm Draco," as, saying that is going to be what saves him. He is convinced. So I think that's exactly what defines Draco right there.
Mm-hmm.
My father will hear about this.
Yes.
I mean, if we're talking about what defines Draco in fanon, it is that line.
It really is.
I think we've done it. Look at us.
I think we've done it. Also, guys, I was keeping track in a handy-dandy spreadsheet. So, fun fact, Order of the Phoenix is responsible for over a third of the defining moments.
Nice.
It is the best book.
It is the best book.
Best book.
Or maybe it's just the book where you get great character work done because nothing else is happening.
Or the great character work contributes to it being the best book.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's got a fantastic plot. The fact that nothing else happens. The DA gets created. There's centaurs. There's Grop. There's Dolores Umbridge.
Taking over Hogwarts.
there's Fred and George Weasley.
Love it or hate it. It does make you feel feelings, so it's doing its job.
Yeah.
If it makes you
it does
frustrated,
that.
that's still
Yep,
feelings.
100%.
And it offers a great venue for character work. I will concede that point. The least popular book was regrettably Chamber of Secrets.
Sorry, Grace. Wherever you are.
The poor redheaded stepchild of the series. Yeah, because Chamber of Secrets had one moment for Draco and half a moment for Neville, because even then Patrick had the movie.
Well, to be fair, it's not the redheaded stepchild, because we have so many redheaded children in this series. It is the ghoul in the attic.
Oh, justice for Chamber of Secrets.
Well, we better do some good Chamber of Secrets stuff in the next year.
In the future.
Yes.
Well, I guess this year, because this will be January.
Yes, this year.
That's true. Oh, future.
Happy New Year, everyone! By the way,
Happy New Year.
Indeed.
2026.
Yeah,
What's
I like
gonna
it.
happen?
We're bringing a good chaotic energy into the new year.
Always. Speaking of chaotic energy,
Yes?
what's on the pub's jukebox today, Irvin?
This was a tricky one for me to pick, but I think we're going to go with On the Other Hand by Wither Wings. It's technically a song about turning yourself into various animals, but it's really a song about sort of what portrayal of yourself you want to share with the world, about sort of how you define yourself through animal transformations. It's also one of my favorite Wizard Rock songs, so give that a listen.
Which animal portrays what I want to be? I have to choose my counterpart carefully. I could be an eagle who soars in the sky, who from a great height sees the meaning of life. She demonstrates power and dignity and excels through effort and understanding. On the other hand, I could be a dog who above all is loyal. She's the one you want when in turmoil. She's trustworthy, you can give her a task. This companion will help with all that you ask. Ooh, if I learn to cast a spell to fully transfigure myself, which animal portrays what I want to be? I have to choose my counterpart carefully.
Irvin, can I request to play a song on the jukebox as well for this extremely long episode?
Well, you're the editor, so you get final say.
Why not make it longer? So I would just like to say, like I was talking about at the beginning, Harry Potter is out now, and there's a whole album associated with it. So I don't know at this point which song I'll play, but I'm going to throw in and give you guys one whole song from the Harry Potter album.
Nice.
So enjoy that now.
Sounds great.
Yeah, if they've listened to 3 hours, they'll listen to another song.
Yeah.
That's a very serious black-coded and Remus Lupin-coded logic. I've done 12 years of waiting. You can wait a little more.
We're going down to London, so pack your bags and then we'll hit the road. You can find it all if you know where to go. Yeah. We gotta buy some supplies, and Hagrid's got a surprise for your pet. We're gonna buy one that you won't regret. But people come and people go. They'll shake your hand for the very, very first time. Yes, we're reading the Harry Potter books for the very, very, very first time. Uh-oh.
Platform 9 3/4, and now it's time to meet the Weasley clan. Maybe make a friend or 2 or 3 if you can.
Hey.
Now to eat some candy, a chocolate frog to help us with the plot, some coconut and baked beans with Birdie the Frog.
So people come and people go. They might be looking for their toad. They'll fix your glasses, then you'll see some people are just mean. That's why we're reading the Harry Potter books for the very, very first time. Yes, we're reading the Harry Potter books for the very, very first time.
But thank you so much, Patrick, for joining us today at the pub and for always bringing the magic to this podcast. This show wouldn't exist without you because literally it would just us be screaming in a microphone and no one actually turn it into a final, finished, polished, wonderful product.
No.
So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And I just want to say again to everybody to check out the notes for this episode where you can find all the links to all the stuff I was talking about at the beginning. And thank you, everybody, for allowing me to be part of this awesome episode.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I love getting the whole gang together, and you are a very important part of the gang.
Thank you.
And listeners, if you enjoyed your time at the pub today with all of us, please rate and review us online or tell your friends about our show. And huge thanks again to Caroline Oberlander, who bought us this round of drinks at the Three Broomsticks. And if you'd like to buy us the next round or two, head over to patreon.com/3broomsticks with numeral 3 to sign up.
Want to find us online? We're on various different...
God, not if you say it like that.
I'm so sorry.
Want to find
Would
us
you like to
online?
find us online?
Come on, find
No.
Come on, little boy, find us online.
No, Patrick, no. No. No.
All our
I
social
say
media
no.
profiles suddenly get reported and blocked.
Go to puppies.
Oh my god. Would you like to find us online?
I think it's quite late now.
Okay, whatever. I'll do an ASMR version. Want to find us online? We're on various different social media channels, which are linked on our website and in the show notes. No? Not what you wanted, Aurelia?
No, please stop.
I'm so sorry.
Chaotic energy is truly present.
Click your
now.
fingernails, Sam. Click your fingernails.
Oh, gosh.
We are in the 4th hour of recording, and it shows.
Would you like to find us online? We're on various different social media channels, which are linked in the website and show notes. Do you want chains of emojis that made you think, Irvin, you're not part of this song? This one has nothing to do with anything other than me saying we're online. You can find us on social media. We share our upcoming Patreon schedules, reactions, and emoji titles of upcoming chapter episodes. And can you just the chapter? Maybe if we ever did that, that would be cool. And you can find us at the website, 3broomstickspod.com. That's with the 3 spelled out. You can submit a topic and let us know your thoughts.
Listeners, I'm so sorry. I offer my sincerest apologies for any part I had in allowing that to happen.
The train's off the tracks now.
It's the Hogwarts Express. Come on. It was right there. The Hogwarts Express is off the tracks and stopped by Dementors.
I'm literally crying with laughter right now.
It's not even Thanksgiving. I'm singing Christmas stuff.
And now we can all cry real tears.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yes, so
Oreo.
I guess talking about the Hogwarts Express, I'm taking my final journey back into the Muggle world, as we say, and leave this all behind, but leave it in good hands. And if you want to hop on to other fandoms and you want to listen to me, Sam, and Sierra talk about other fandoms, you can listen to us at Fandom Schmandom. Right about this time, we're probably frantically recording the final episode for our Stranger Things season.
Ugh, yeah.
So if you're interested in still hearing my thoughts on books and TV shows and all of that stuff, follow us on Fandom Schmandom.
The end of an era. It won't be the same without you.
It really is.
I am sending you the biggest of hugs through my microphone.
Oh, thank you. I do already miss this, but I know you're all gonna be fantastic without me. And I had a really great time. And the drinks were always great at this pub.
Excellent.
Well, if you ever want more drinks, you know where to find us. And if you ever need somebody to talk Star Trek, I will come and join you.
Bam, 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 bam. Man.
Na 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 na.
Na na na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
Except that's generally like a bad thing. You yell to people you want to leave. So, I don't, but yeah.
No, I think if anything, closing time.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's a good one,
Yeah.
too.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I'm very familiar with Get the Out songs because I am usually wherever it is they're trying to get people to get out of.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Well, listeners, next time we meet at the Three Broomsticks with some new hosts starting sort of the next generation. We are going to be discussing something we're going to decide in the coming weeks. We haven't figured out our schedule yet. But you know what? Come back to the Three Broomsticks. We are going to be discussing Harry Potter, and it's going to be a fun time. And with that, I'm Irvin.
I'm Sam.
I'm Sierra.
I'm Sophia Jenkins.
I've been Ev.
And I have been Oreo. Thank you for listening. See you next time in the Three Broomsticks. Oh, you won't in my case.
Cheers.
I suppose.
Wah, wah, wah.
Give me big old buckets of butterbeer. Give me big old barrels of butterbeer. Give me the drink I love so dear. And another round from my friend right here with the sweet old butterbeer. This episode of Three Broomsticks was edited by Patrick Musilek. The theme song was written and performed by the Faithful Sidekicks. Make sure to check them out at thefaithfulsidekicks.com.
Give me big old buckets of butterbeer.
Yeah, you have to end on a big happy musical number. It's like the end of Moulin Rouge.
It's too much work to re-record it as a sad song.
She just choked to death. Now we have to pump up the audience to make it feel like it was worth it to come.
Do the dubstep remix.
Cheers. How much wood would a woodchuck cut? It would chuck wood.
As much wood as a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Hold on, let's let Oreo go last.
Yeah, that sounds great. Because Ev isn't here. No, Ev isn't here. Sorry, Sophia isn't here. Never mind. I saw the color and I made a mistake.
The disrespect!
It's in my head. I'm sorry.
I am shocked.
I made a color mistake and then read your name and realized it as soon as I said, I'm sorry.
I forgive you.
All right, bye, guys.
Okay, bye everyone.
Thanks.
Bye. Happy New Year.